You're listening to Ride Along, EMT School. I'm Mike.
And I'm Max. We're two students navigating EMT school, bringing you along week by week.
And I'm Jonathan, a paramedic bringing real-world perspective.
Join us as we share the lessons, challenges, and stories from EMT school, and hear insights from those already living the EMS life. Welcome to the Ride Along. Ride along. Here we go. We're starting to sing it again. We haven't sung the intro in a while. Although it's been based on how our production schedule goes, it's been a few weeks.
Yeah,
I've missed you guys. Like we took a little bit of a break. The episodes keep going because we had a little bit of a delay on some episodes, but now we're back together. We're back at it.
Yes.
We're still on the way to getting our EMT certification.
So close.
Yeah, we're in January right now.
Yeah, one more class.
And we have one more class left, and we have testing and all that stuff. But don't worry, everyone that's listening, we still got plenty of episodes to go because there's like half a book left. Like we still have all the trauma stuff that we need to do. Mm-hmm. We still have obstetrics and gynecology to go through, which is my absolute weakest knowledge section in my test, like my practice tests.
You catch it. Just catch it.
Yeah.
Don't drop the baby.
Don't drop the baby. That's essentially the takeaway.
You're not doing anything. You just
they're slick little boogers.
And then we've got the really exciting stuff, like really exciting, like hazmat,
Ooh.
and terrorist incidences in EMS.
Yeah.
Oh, and the barn burner ICS.
Yes.
Incident Command System.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't
man.
forget next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
What's next week?
Isn't EVOC next week?
Oh, yeah. And of course, we're going to throw in a little bit of a curveball for you. I think we talked about this on a previous episode. We are going to be talking about in our next episode the emergency vehicle operators course.
Yeah. Serpentine backwards at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, we were doing
not what
J-turns and, there was a rollover and we actually learned to do barrel rolls in an ambulance, which is good because they're top heavy and they roll really quickly.
You got to get that return roll. Like once you start going, you got to keep it moving.
Yeah. You got to keep that momentum. They did teach us about Newton's laws of physics.
They did.
In that class, which was strange.
And don't forget the highlighter jackets. The highlighter yellow jacket.
Highlighter yellow jacket. Yes. Yeah. The ANSI.
Yeah, the ANSI vest.
ANSI vest. We're going to be talking about all those next
Level
episode.
3.
So we got plenty coming. So don't worry. But this is episode 23. ROSC you like a hurricane. Which means we're talking about what? What are we talking about tonight, Max?
Resuscitation.
Resuscitation.
Bringing them back from the dead.
Yes.
You show up, they're dead. When you leave, they're alive.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, hopefully.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Occasionally.
Occasionally. Well, I guess the thing that we have learned in this educational process so far is that it is a great chance that resuscitation and EMS provides people, but it's not the greatest chance in the world. Just to level set for everyone out there listening,
Liberal application of electrocution.
Yeah, liberal application of electrocution. I guess, yeah, that's what we're doing. Very concise application of electrocution and compressions and breathing.
Yeah.
But that's what we're going to be talking about tonight is stuff that we may have actually talked about a bit before.
I think we did.
Yeah, we got our CPR,
we did CPR,
certificate.
yeah, and we did an episode around that.
Yeah, at which you've done too, Jonathan, right? Like you have to get recertified every now and then.
Yeah, I have to renew CPR every 2 years. I got to keep a valid CPR certification. So.
Yeah, so even those paragods among us.
The paragods.
I just learned that term.
Yeah, you must have. I
like it.
I hadn't heard you talk about that. The paragods, glitter patches, all sorts of things
I kid. Only because I'm jealous as a very close to being minted basic provider.
I've said this before. I'll say it again. He's going to go through paramedic school.
Yeah, you don't have to. I don't have to be the only one that suffered. You can suffer just like I do.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, we all like to suffer in our own ways.
He's not dragging me through it. It's not happening, people.
Well, maybe.
No. No.
You don't think you'll do it?
No. God,
I
no.
think you'll do it. I think
No.
Speaking of being close to freshly minted, I think we had a listener reach out to us to give us some positive news. You want to tell the audience a little bit about that?
So that is something I am more than happy to do. So while we're here, we'd love to reach out or give a shout out to Christopher W. out in Arkansas. He's one of the few, I guess, students along the way that has reached out to us and gave us some encouragement, and we've corresponded with. And Chris just, I don't want to assume Chris versus Christopher. Christopher just reached out to us and said he passed his NREMT and he's currently waiting to pick up a paid gig. Down there in Arkansas. So congratulations, sir.
Congratulations,
Awesome.
man.
That's really
Great
awesome.
job, man.
So
It's a
proud of
big
you,
step.
man. Yeah. And thank you for sharing your journey with us. That
Oh, yeah.
means the world to us, honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're out there and you're going through this stuff with us, if you're in school, you're just starting, maybe you're getting towards the end like Max and I, shoot us a message. Let us know how it's going for you. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to share about it. And we love seeing other people suffering with us.
Yes, exactly. Slides.
Even if you're going
Lots
through
of
like
slides.
AEMT or paramedic school, like you can reach down to us mere mortals and let us know how your paramedic school is going. No, I'm joking. I have nothing but sincerely, the highest respect for people who put the time and effort and dedication into becoming ALS providers. Like, the more I've learned about this, like, I had no idea. Like, I know I've said this before, but I respect you way more now, Jonathan, because before, when he's like, yeah, I'm a paramedic, I'm like, cool. So you went,
Oh, wow.
you got another level of EM. This is way before I knew anything about this.
Look, he's got an injectable.
But yeah, so we're moving along.
We are indeed.
Yeah. But yeah, so this episode is dealing with resuscitation. And we're doing something else new this episode that we haven't done before. And this is a bit of a personal note. Something that means a lot to me, and somebody who inspired me to do this podcast, to have some courage in my life to pursue things that I love. This episode is dedicated to Jonathan Butler, who is a Vietnam veteran of the United States Navy, and is also my stepfather. I'm feeling the tears coming. So this might get a little awkward, a little deep for everybody. I'm sorry. My stepfather passed away a couple of weeks ago from complications due to COPD, congestive heart failure, and bladder cancer, all of which sustained from Agent Orange exposure in the Navy. So, and the reason why we're dedicating this episode is because valiantly, although unsuccessfully, that's the kind of theme that I think is due here for resuscitation. The team down in Lincoln County, North Carolina, valiantly tried to save my dad. Unfortunately, it was his time.
Yeah.
And we've learned that is sometimes the case. So
Sure.
Yeah.
he collapsed at home while my mom was shampooing his hair. So, I mean, honestly, I don't know.
That's not a bad way to go.
If I had to choose,
I mean, that's a pretty amazing
that's really.
way.
I told my family that I'm like, if I could choose, I would
Passing away,
definitely choose that.
Passing away in the arms of the woman that you love, you can't really beat that.
You cannot. But so the team was there. They tried resuscitating him. My mom calls me while he's being worked on. Right. She's hysterics. I'm 200 miles north here, or however many hundreds of miles north here in Pennsylvania, and I can hear what's happening on the phone. And I guess it's the blessing and the curse of the knowledge that we've been able to gain through this process. I knew what was happening. Right. And I consider it to be a huge blessing in this, that like, hey, I was able to know right away. I was able to understand what was happening. And while my mom they weren't necessarily communicating everything to my mom because their protocols down in North Carolina mean that, hey, if it's a witnessed arrest, because my mom was there, they have to transport no matter what to the hospital. So all she saw was him being worked on for 30 or 40 minutes and then packaging him up and leaving, and them not telling her really much.
Yeah.
So I got to speak to one of the firefighters there who was also an EMT. I was like, hey, give me the lowdown. What's going on? Did you guys get ROSC? Did you get, was there any cardiac activity? He's like, listen, we did a bunch of rounds. We pushed 3 rounds of epi. We got no activity. There was nothing to shock. And I'm like, okay, so what's your protocols down there? Like, do you guys have to transport? He's like, yeah, we have to. We have to bring him to the hospital. So at that point, I knew he was gone. So that allowed me, like this education that we've been able to go through, I've been able to now use that and unfortunately use those skills of death notification to basically tell my mom and my family, like, hey guys, you're going to go to the hospital. You're going to get bad news. This is what, like, you're hearing it from me. Like, I'm 100% sure, like, breathe. We'll all be here together. I flew down the next day. We did the whole family thing, so on and so forth. But it's, it's just really interesting to me and a huge benefit already to be able to kind of use that skill set to offer some comfort and some solace to my own family.
Yeah, you were able to tell your mom. The person that told your mom the ultimate outcome was someone that loves her, cares about her. And not that the doctors wouldn't have done a fine job, but it's still a better way to find that out.
Yeah, I think so. That's how I mean, if I had to hear it from somebody, I'd want it to be from somebody I love and in my family, especially someone that knows and that's not bullshitting or kind of like, I'm not saying they were bullshitting. I'm just saying, it's sometimes we're required to do what the protocols require us to do.
Yeah.
And, I at that point she was going to be driving to a hospital and then hoping for good news. And
which just adds another layer of stress that's not necessary.
Yeah. So, we knew.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so this episode is dedicated to my stepfather, John. Love you, man. And he's a good guy. He's definitely one of the ones that has inspired me to pursue a lot of things in life. So
nice.
He's one of the reasons why you're listening to my, sultry voice talking on this podcast. But yeah, so man, now I got the feels and I got the lump in the back of my throat. It's great. This is perfect way to start off a podcast.
It's not like we have to talk or anything like that.
I don't got to talk at all.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, so we are going to, and you know what? While we're talking about appreciation, and I think this is a pretty good segue.
It is.
We definitely want to express our appreciation for tonight's sponsor, for this episode's
Absolutely.
sponsor, who has been incredibly generous to us, and we cannot thank them enough for doing what they do for us in the podcast and supporting us, but for what they do for the general public and for EMS in specific. So tonight our sponsor is Master Medical Equipment. Master Medical Equipment and Renew Biomedical are your one-stop partner for life-saving medical equipment, serving EMS, post-acute, and alternative care providers across North America. They deliver new and recertified diagnostic, monitoring, patient handling, and therapeutic equipment, backed by expert repair, on-site preventative maintenance, rentals, training, and asset management. In Resuscitation, MME offers a complete lineup. The Defibtech View AED, lightweight, rugged, and built for real-world EMS, with a full-color interactive display and simple glove-friendly operation, and the ARM XR mechanical CPR device, delivering consistent, high-quality compressions while freeing your hands for critical life-saving care. The ARM XR is backed by MME's exclusive 7-year warranty, supported by Renew Biomedical, whose certified biomeds help extend the life of life-saving equipment through industry-leading service and preventative maintenance. Contact Master Medical Equipment or your preferred vendor to learn more at mmemed.com. That's MMEMED.com. So they were very kind to us and sent us this AED,
Yes,
which we will be talking about
we will indeed.
in this episode. So stick around. Our Tools of the Trade this week is also sponsored by Master Medical Equipment and Defibtech, because they were very kind to send us this AED, which I don't want to get too grandiose, but if something like this was in everybody's home or in more places, there may be more people with us. No,
100%.
If my mom had one of these things, that could have made a difference.
Yep.
So, it's just to say we're very big advocates of AEDs and proliferating them within homes and businesses. And you guys should really check out MME for that if you're looking for one.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So we've got through the upfront stuff, the appreciation, the heavy stuff. Now we get into the light topic of saving lives,
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not at all heavy.
Potatoes.
The meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
The whole enchilada. That little thing of bringing raising the dead.
Right. When you get there, they're dead.
They are.
They're dead.
Yeah.
And you're bringing them back to life.
So the
To
first
serve you. I mean, to
we're not necromancers, although that would be. Oh, could you imagine? Like that would be the best job for a necromancer is like an EMT.
Yeah.
Like you get them fresh. Oh no, this is getting weird quick. And again, we're circling around this kind of Dungeons and Dragons world with
Exactly. It's happening, people.
with EMT stuff.
They're going to create characters, and I'm going to kill them.
No. So yeah, we're talking about raising the dead, which was very apparent to me the first time. So the first code I ever went on. It was a opioid overdose, and the guy's in the ambulance, and he's he eventually wakes up, right? And he's not combative, but he's resistant, and he's out of it and stuff in the back of the ambulance. He's like, where are my clothes? Why like, what are you guys doing? Why is this thing on me? And like the paramedic who was there was just saying this because you were dead. Like you were dead. And it took me a second to go, oh yeah, he was dead. He was, but he's not anymore. And it's like, this job's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
It could be pretty freaking like that is remarkable.
I haven't seen any of them come back from the dead yet.
No, well,
Not
you
yet,
will.
but hopefully
we
soon.
will. Yeah. Like he was it's like the Princess Bride. He wasn't all dead. He
Right.
was
just a little dead.
He was mostly dead.
That scene's one of the best in film.
Yeah. You witch. I'm not a witch. I'm your wife.
I'm your wife.
Oh, have fun storming the castle, boys. Billy Crystal in that movie is amazing.
He was amazing.
Actually, the best person. Hey, we're doing a tangent. Sorry,
We are.
Pop culture tangent. Who's your favorite character from that movie?
Oh God, the Sicilian.
Jonathan, do you know this movie, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
The Sicilian.
He's
He's the best one.
Vasily?
Yeah, of course.
Never mess with a Sicilian when death is on the line.
Exactly.
He's pretty great. How about you, Jonathan?
Man, Inigo Montoya is probably
He's so good.
he's so good.
Yeah, he is.
I got a soft spot in my heart for Wesley.
Yeah.
He's a heartthrob. The ladies love him, and the guys want to be him.
Carl Ewells was,
And he was a tool.
heartthrob,
He was
man.
a tool in every movie after that.
He was. Yeah. Nothing has ever been.
He never played a nice guy again. Did
No.
He?
He played Robin Hood in Robin Hood Men in Tights, which was fantastic.
Well, there is that.
It's kind of the same
that's
character,
true.
though, right?
It is basically the same character.
He's more serious in The Princess Bride for sure. He's
right.
Yeah.
He's the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Exactly.
I'm 100% a Inigo Montoya fan.
yeah.
like
he is awesome.
Yeah. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father.
Prepare to die.
Prepare to die. By any chance, do you have 6 fingers on your right hand? Like, I just... Why are you smiling? I know something that you don't know. I am not left-handed. Like, it's got the best lines.
Yes.
Although Andre the Giant does steal the show.
He is
like
pretty
he's
good at it.
Yeah.
He is.
I'm on the Brute Squad. You are the Brute Squad. Like it's. By the way, for all you youngins out there, this is from the movie The Princess Bride. you should go watch it.
And if you haven't seen it, your movie education sucks.
Absolute classic. Absolute. I mean, it's a love story. The ladies will love watching it with you too.
It's actually a shocker to me that Mel Brooks didn't direct it.
Yeah, I think it's a Rob Reiner film, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. And it's got what's her name? Robin Wright, Jenny from Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
and Claire from what's the show? The really terrible, like it's a great show, but she's absolutely evil. The one with Kevin Spacey where he's the president.
Yeah. House of Cards.
House of Cards. Like that, you want to see range in an actress?
Yeah.
That's good.
Or Homeland.
Yeah, Homeland. Homeland's good too.
Because they know he's in it.
Yes. All right. So
Anyway.
Manny Patinkin is in
Exactly.
Homeland. Okay. Yeah. It's come full circle.
And he was on a medical show.
Which one is he on?
I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, you can't throw that out there and then not follow it up. All right. So sorry for the segue. We are here to talk about, we're going to throw out this week's medical term of the week.
Yes.
And one of the things that we had talked about before jumping on the podcast today was one of the, like, there are several themes to this idea of resuscitation, one of which we talked about before, and that is, it's about the valiant efforts that may not always pay off, but the other one is very much teamwork.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of teamwork. I love the idea of practicing and coordination between people to get larger and better effects. And this is one of those things that really falls into that category. So the medical term of the week is the triangle of life. And when I was reading through the book, I was like, the triangle of life, what is that? Because you could just name shapes and add other things to them and they sound cool too. Like the circle of death or, the ring of fire or the
Golden hour.
the rhombus of doom. No, the triangle of life is a reference to where providers can help in resuscitation in regards to the patient, like where they are in space around the patient. So the triangle of life is a team-based approach to cardiac arrest resuscitation that assigns 3 core roles to the first providers on scene, so critical tasks happen simultaneously with minimal interruption.
Yeah.
There's another term for this, which I also like. It's called pit crew CPR.
Yep.
So essentially, you have assigned spaces
Right.
that you jump into for providing CPR for a patient. And there's 3 core roles. Sorry. And they're kind of really ranked because they need to happen in this order.
Right.
So the very first one, the most important one, like the provider that cannot be skipped, is most important. That is the chest. So it's one of the providers on either side of the chest. So kneeling next to the chest at about chest level, right, with the patient supine on their back. So one of those providers, doesn't matter the left or the right. His job or her job are chest compressions. That's it.
Yep.
Chest compressions only. High quality, proper depth, full rebound chest compressions at a rate of 100 beats per minute.
Yep.
Right. That's all. It's like when you have people driving in a car together. The driver's role should just be driving.
Exactly.
In this situation, the chest compressions provider should just be worrying about chest compressions. It doesn't mean that they can't swap out. We'll talk about that in a second, but it means that when they're the one providing chest compressions, that's the most important thing that needs to happen. They're doing the chest compressions only. Okay, so that's number one. The second person that comes in, the second provider, well, what do? Well, they're going to start filling in gaps. So most important thing, and we'll talk about this in a little bit further down the line. Well, I mean, it's kind of a toss up between one of two things that you could think of as being like the most important thing. Either, hey, we need to get oxygen into this person, or if we have something like this, an AED around, that gets prioritized.
Well, I think it gets prioritized because that can stop the arrest.
It
can get you back into a normal rhythm.
Exactly. So I'm just saying that like that person's role may change.
Yep.
But if there's an AED available, they should be going to get it, and they should be jumping in that spot, slapping those pads on, and worrying about getting that AED up and running. If there is no AED, that person's role becomes like ventilation.
Yep.
Okay. So number 2 is on the other side of the chest. So you have one person on one side of the chest, another person on the other side of the chest, and then if a third person shows up, because what I've learned is when you start doing this stuff, people start coming out of the woodwork.
Yep.
Sure.
Thankfully, thank God, honestly, because this would be a terrible thing to have to go through on your own. Like,
It's not fun.
man, I
It's
dread.
not fun.
I could imagine being the only person to have to call, provide compressions, do rescue breaths, and then hope that somebody's coming at the same time without physically killing yourself through exhaustion over the course of an hour. I know people have done it. And
I don't want to be that person.
If you ever meet somebody who's done that on their own for an extended period of time, you need to just tell them how awesome they are.
Yeah, shake their hand.
Okay, so we talked about the first 2 people on either side of the chest, and the third provider shows up, and their job is the head.
Yep.
So now you can see where the idea of the triangle comes from. So you got 2 providers on either side of the chest, 1 provider at the head. If you draw lines between those 3 people, you
make a
have
triangle.
A triangle. It's not like a circle; it's like a triangle. That's a I pronounce you Chuck and Larry reference, by the way. I don't know.
It was a decent
I heard the
Adam
Sandler
Sandler.
in
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Actually, that was a Rob Snyder quote from that movie.
Oh, well, okay.
Okay.
So those are the 3 providers. And the person at the head, their job is to, when they show up, they're working airway and ventilations. That's it. So between those 3 people, you can do some pretty effective CPR. And now when you need to swap out, so say the person on chest compression starts getting fatigued, well, either the guy at the head or more efficiently would be the person on the other side of the chest can just pop right in and start providing compressions. And the guy can, or the gal can take a break who is giving compressions and take over either the AED or swap with the person at the head doing compressions.
Yep.
Right.
So between those 3, you can start having breaks and you can start really pulling some teamwork to make some high quality CPR.
Yep.
And your AED is going to do, rhythm check at every 2 minutes.
Yep.
And so that is an excellent, if you've got the manpower or the hands to do it, that is an excellent time to, as soon as that rhythm check, like the second that rhythm check is done, for somebody to get back on the chest. And if you can trade with the person across from you, that just, ideally we don't want to go more than 1 round of CPR if we can help it without trading off to another provider to start CPR. That gives us the best longevity as far as our CPR providers and our highest quality compressions.
Yeah.
So that's important.
Yep. So we've established the triangle.
Yep.
Those 3 providers. But guess what? More people usually show up.
Yep.
And this is where you can start staging people in optimal places based off of the roles that they can provide. So once you have those initial 3, most likely the next person that shows up will be outside of the triangle.
Right.
Because you don't want to, once you have that triangle established, you don't want anybody getting in between those people, because then it's going to start hindering what they're already doing. And that 4th person usually could be the one that helps coordinate the team. If somebody is in that role, a officer or somebody that is a supervisor level, they can kind of be the one to start coaching from outside that triangle, helping coordinate, helping doing things outside the triangle that need to happen, or like, monitoring the team to say, hey, speed up those compressions a little bit. Hey, make sure you're getting the bag valve mask on there correctly. Or, hey, you didn't, like, let's make sure we're connected to oxygen on that ventilation instead of just going with the bag valve mask. So they can start filling in gaps wherever they're seeing them to start helping, right? And then that person is usually outside the triangle, maybe somewhere at the head. And then you have a couple other slots that can start getting some people down at the legs. And this is where typically, or at least from what I was reading, this is where your ALS providers are probably going to start camping out, because they have best access to intravenous stuff that isn't interfering with the three people up at the chest. So you got the legs, you got IO access down there, you've got venous access down there, and these are the guys that are going to be running the cardiac monitor, making sure they know what's going on, and making sure that any drugs that need to get on board are getting on board. But they can be out of the triangle, not task saturated with just providing compressions. They can be doing some of the higher level medical care, and then. If those ALS providers are there, while there may be a coach, somebody who's helping with the compressions, the CPR, a team leader up there, ultimately, obviously, the ALS providers are the ones that are making all the medical decisions. They have the kind of, authority at that space. So that's kind of where the final decision on any patient care is going to be happening. And without knowing all of this, without actually practicing all this or reading about it, I saw this happen live and had no idea that this was like, oh, this all fit within the triangle of life when I saw that code that I saw.
Right.
I didn't even realize it. I took over being at the head. I was the guy just working on airway. That's all I was focused about. There was somebody ready to provide chest compressions because he went out and then came back, so he lost it for a little bit. The two paramedics were down at the legs doing what they needed to do medication-wise, and our lieutenant in one of our services was there coaching us, making sure that everything was going smoothly and we had everything that we needed. I was like, oh, that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing to see it. Like, and while we had never rehearsed it as a team, being able to provide some help and seeing all that come together, you're like, oh, everyone had a spot, everyone had a role to fill. You fall into those things naturally, and the work gets done.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a really interesting thing to kind of, practice and implement this kind of role of the triangle of life.
Well, especially when you really don't know where you're going to fill in. So like you have to know each one of those roles. You have to know efficiently how to perform those roles inside your scope of practice and your level of, training. But like those key three roles, like anyone can fill those.
Yep.
It doesn't even have to be an EMT.
No, it could be a layperson who just knows, CPR or a CPR certified person.
Yep.
You need the help. You need people there.
Exactly.
I've had a lot of law enforcement officers and fire guys do compressions for me. Maybe they don't have any interest in doing EMS as EMTs or anything else, but they show up as an extra set of hands and kind of guided those folks through, hey, now I want you to do compressions a little bit deeper. I want you to slow down a little bit. You're doing good compressions, keep doing them, right? And kind of guiding those folks through that. And even at times they, a lot of police cars have AEDs in them. Most of the ones here do. And so they can even be the first line in that chain of survival, where, they get in there, they start compressions and they put their AED on.
Yep. So love seeing people come together. I think the key things to remember here are it needs to be practiced. Like you need to be familiar with the idea of it, or it should be. It'll be most efficient if you do, so you don't have to learn it on the fly. And good teamwork, communication is essential.
Yep.
Knowing how you can, fill a slot. It doesn't matter what slot you're in, what role you're in, as long as you know that there's a job that needs doing and jumping in and doing that job. So practice and communication are kind of the two big things that, I think lead to success in this thing.
100%.
So that's the medical term of this week is the triangle of life.
I like it.
I thought it was a fun one.
It was.
It was either that.
is.
It was either going to be that or ROSC. But ROSC is like a 2-second explanation.
No, and I think that the explanation, especially firsthand, of that coordination between providers is awesome.
Yeah. By the way, ROSC is return of spontaneous circulation. And that's, it means the heart starts beating again. Done. Medical term of the week number 2.
There you go. I think you took too long with that. You could have slimmed it down a little bit. Too many words.
Yeah, too many. Yeah. I tend to talk too much in the medical term stuff. But
we all do.
We're talkers. That's why we have a podcast.
Otherwise, there wouldn't be one.
Very true.
Bunch of introverts on a podcast is just
It'd have to be a video podcast so that you
yeah.
can see everybody just looking at each other and then like them looking down at their phones going, and every once in a while like laughing without talking to somebody. That's a true mark of an introvert.
right.
Yes.
Right.
But okay, so we talked about we started talking about CPR, a little bit in the triangle of life.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about starting there real quick as kind of the refresher?
I think it's a good place
We
to
had an
start.
episode devoted to it.
We did, but it was a while ago.
It was a while ago, and it was more about obtaining the certification than it was necessarily about the process of resuscitation, I think.
Yes.
Right.
Because this is the chapter in our book, and it went deeper into a lot of things, which we'll get into. But I think a quick refresher of CPR is good.
Sure.
I guess the big question is, when do we if we're talking the pit crew or the triangle of life, when do we do that? Like what prompts us?
If they're not breathing and they have no pulse, they need CPR.
Yes.
If they're dead when you get there, you need to make them not dead.
If you do not have a carotid pulse and they are not breathing.
Yes. Well, I would say there's probably some limitations to that, I guess, depending on your protocols. Because if you show up and all of a sudden there's lividity and and rigor mortis and decomposition, I don't think you're expected to necessarily start jumping in and putting a triangle of life into into practice.
If somebody meets the criteria for resuscitation.
Yes.
I pronounced one dead this morning, and she was very obviously dead. She'd been there for a little bit, and rigor had started to set in. So we did not attempt resuscitation with her. So
because I mean, and while I don't think they ever really got expressly into on the BLS side, what you like, I know one of the things that we look out for is lividity, which is I guess it's the bruising, or it looks like bruising, but it's the pooling of blood on the lower part, the underside of a body, right?
Right.
From gravity pulling all the fluids down inside the body. It's that discoloration. And rigor mortis was like, it's the stiffening of the muscles and joints after death, right?
Yep.
Right.
So one call that I was on where we had an older gentleman that passed away, and he had been down for 20, 30 minutes by the time we got there. They still put the pads on. They still, they still put it on just to make sure that there was no rhythm of any kind, just to make sure of it. But there's a look there that, from 30 feet away in a dimly lit room, it's like that individual is not alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. The circumstances and most things are going to be, all of this is going to be protocol driven as to when do we not attempt resuscitation? When do we, what are our timelines? Do we have special considerations for resuscitation that we have to acknowledge? And then if we're going to terminate resuscitation, how do we go about that? But
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that some too.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in terms of like finding them there's different ways to find them, right? Sure. I think the witnessed arrest, we talked about that with like my stepfather's case, right? Those are the easy ones. Like you work it, right? Like without a doubt, you're going to work the witnessed arrest. The unsure, you're going to work it.
Do it anyway.
You're going to do it anyway, right? Like what's the worst that could happen? It's just to call out that I guess in some certain circumstances, the signs of death are so apparent that there's going to be like, a pretty good sign, like, hey, you don't like, we're not going to like waste the effort or the or put in the risk of somebody like working a dead body, right? So know what those are for your like your service and your protocols. So that's, no pulse, right? No pulse, no breathing, CPR.
Exactly.
What about what are we doing with CPR? What's the purpose? Like, what is it doing to the body?
You're basically you're artificially circulating the blood through the body. Or actually, you're trying to pull oxygenated blood from the extremities into the core.
Right. I mean, there is a
So yeah, I mean both of those to a degree, but yeah, like we want to continue to perfuse the tissues, so that's why we want to do compressions so we can circulate, and then also want to do ventilation so we can oxygenate as well.
Mm-hmm. And is there one of those that's more important than the other?
The compressions is it's all important, but in the order of operations, compressions, and then potentially getting the heart started with electricity. Those are the two most important things when we talk about CPR and BLS CPR. So
right,
or BLS resuscitation.
Right.
I mean, in some places, I believe compression only CPR is still a thing, right? That was big during COVID. Not getting too close with the respirations, but and I think they still teach that in like the civilian CPR class, where it's like, if you're uncomfortable, if you don't have a mouth barrier, at least do the compressions.
Yeah, I took a CPR refresher, I guess, a year before we started class, and they were very much against any kind of ventilations. They were like, you were simply going to do compressions. They were even cutting out the idea of even having the CPR mask. Like, you are just strictly doing compressions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's one of the differences as medical providers.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to focus on ventilation as we're the lay person, and a lot of that has to do with a little bit of psychology and a little bit of equipment availability. People are maybe not as apt to start if they know they have to maybe do this thing that is uncomfortable. Right. Just doing compressions is probably uncomfortable enough. But the idea of doing mouth to mouth, which I would not advise, right? Sure. Having some sort of barrier to protect you, or having some sort of one-way valve on a mask. That's definitely the route you want to go. But as providers, we are definitely going to ventilate, and if we can, secure the airway in some manner. As appropriate to our level,
with some sort of adjunct
in our scope of
OPA, NPA, or supraglottic, or
ET tube if you've got a ALS provider that's capable of doing that.
So I think that's the big thing is like we're what did we say in the first couple of weeks? Like it almost seems too simple now. It's like air goes in and out, blood goes round and round. Like
that's
what we're doing, right? Like it's
exactly it.
It's the perfusion story that we're coming back to from week one, in terms of the body functions, I mean,
it's simple. You just make sure the blood flows and make sure the oxygen flows.
Yeah,
and you have a live person. That's all. I mean.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
hopefully,
right? Exactly.
I think even in the CPR episode, we had mentioned that there were some extreme cases where CPR kept people alive for hours and hours. Yeah. Like I think it was like 6 to 8 hours or something like that was the longest case of somebody being kept alive via CPR. Which is amazing, but like that's what it's meant to do, right? And hopefully it's going to work, but some cases it doesn't, some cases it does, but you're giving them the chance, right?
Right. You're giving them a chance to get to that, to get higher level of care, whether it's an ALS provider, an AED, like you're giving them that opportunity for them to get that higher level care that's going to bring them back.
Yeah. Now, real quick, quiz time, Max.
Okay.
What's our ratio of compressions to breaths?
That depends.
Okay, I that is true. But
if it's an adult, it would be 30 to 2.
30 to 2 for an adult.
Yes.
Yeah. And what about a child?
Isn't it 15 to 2? No, wait. Damn it. Where are the notes?
It depends.
It depends.
I was right. No,
it
I was
depends.
wrong.
It depends on
It
if
does
you have
depend.
one or two
Yeah.
rescuers.
Yeah, because most pediatric cardiac arrest are related to respiratory arrest more than they are related to cardiac issues.
So you double the interval of breaths per
We're trying to
compressions.
we're trying to give
Ha.
those kids a better chance if we've got that second set of hands there to provide that or what have you to provide that rescue breath.
So it's 30 to 2 for adults
Yep.
with one or two rescuers.
Yes.
Yep.
And for children, it's, what is it?
15 to
It's 30,
2, right?
Well, it's 30 to 2 if you have a single rescuer.
Same as an adult.
And then, yep, same as the adult. And then if you have two rescuers, it's going to be 15 to 2.
Right. So it changes slightly if you have the two rescuers available. Yeah. And then we are going for how long before we check for ROSC?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yep, 2 minutes. Those are it's almost like it's funny at this point to to readdress that because it's almost instinctual, especially if you're working with a team that's going to be working a CPR. Like everyone's doing all that stuff at the same time. So
Right.
and it's all going to be happening at once. So that's kind of like bread and butter of BLS is the CPR stuff, right? So and what's the rate?
Of?
A rate of compressions.
Oh, it's 1 every second, right?
So how many beats per minute?
Oh, it's 100 beats per minute.
100 beats per minute. You got it.
100 to 120. Yep.
And then how many breaths or how many seconds per breath?
1 every 6 seconds.
5 to 6 seconds. That's what they tell us, right? So which averages out to about 10 breaths per minute, but that's under ventilation.
That's going to come down to having that airway secured with something like a supraglottic
Yeah.
or an ET tube.
And how are we telling if we're getting effective ventilations?
By watching the rise and fall of the chest.
Rise and fall of the chest, right? And that's what we've been taught. But
Yeah.
you may have different things that that are based off of your school. But
So in addition, as a BLS provider, when you have because your cardiac monitors can go into an AED mode, right? So you may work a BLS code with a cardiac monitor, putting the pads on, and then it's doing the exact same thing as our Defibtech AED.
Yep.
And running through it and running through the computer. But a lot of times those monitors have the ability to do inline capnography, right? And so we'll get a capnography reading. And so one of the ways we can tell if our ventilations are effective is by placing that inline capnography between our either our mask or our supraglottic airway or our ET tube if we have one of those available, and seeing what the reading is. If we're getting a reading and maintaining a good reading, we can deduce from that we are getting good ventilations.
which is side note, I'm actually surprised that capnography is not more prevalent in the EMT curriculum. Like they have not gone through it with us at all.
They mentioned it, and that was about it.
It seems to be something that is so not heavily relied on because it's not used on every call, but it's certainly very helpful in understanding proper respirations. When you're having patients with breathing problems.
I don't want to talk out of turn, but in Virginia, this may be nationally, but in Virginia, we have what are known as red dot skills, and capnography is one of those red dot skills. So it's not something that necessarily you would learn as part of the national curriculum, but then as a skill set, you'll come back and get some continuing education, and you will be able to do that. Now they may be including that in some places in their curriculums, but I know in Virginia they've started to include those as part of their EMT school curriculum.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I'm betting that in the future that's going to be one of the things that probably becomes more prominent because it's kind of like it's on every heart monitor is to have the capnography. And seems to be rather prevalent.
I can tell you protocol wise, it is in all the services that I work for, agencies I'm a part of. It is absolutely in those protocols to utilize that as confirmation. So
Gotcha. Okay, so we've talked about CPR.
We have
Yep, we've beaten it to death.
a little bit. Well, you have to.
Yeah, I mean we got to know
Deep.
it the back of our hands
Exactly.
because we're going to be staring at them while we're.
Now you mentioned
while
a couple
compressing
terms.
chests.
You mentioned a couple terms like rebounding. We should explain like what that means.
Oh,
I mean,
proper,
they should
like-
know, but like that's one of those things that I think you can absolutely get wrong doing CPR.
Yeah, no, and I know I had trouble with that, like thinking like, oh, it's more important to have the right pace than it is the right compressions or the right depth. And I think the
Right.
depth it will both need to happen for high quality CPR. But the rebounding is the thing that really hit home for me in the sense that if you're not letting that heart come all the way back out, if you're not letting pressing down the right depth is one thing, but you have to let it come all the way back out so that the heart refills with all the blood. Or else you're just you could be doing the right depth, but you're only getting half amount of the blood each time that you're compressing. So you need to make sure that it's getting a full rebound.
Yep.
On or full
recoil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the principles of high quality CPR.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about heart failure, shall we?
Sure.
Why does it happen? Like,
Because it's broken.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty much it's done. Yeah,
Well, I mean, if you have an interruption in
a broken heart.
exactly, a broken heart.
yeah, that's
She broke him.
yeah. He got that Dear John letter,
right.
and and the heart failed,
Exactly.
which I'm sure has happened.
I have no doubt.
Every letter I get is a Dear John letter.
That's true. Like even your credit card company tries to break up with you.
Da, da, da.
Dear Jonathan.
Wah, wah, wah.
But yeah, so a broken heart.
Yeah. Well, you have an interruption in electrical activity is one.
So electrical activity.
Right.
Yeah.
It can come from like a blunt force. It could come from literally an electrocution.
Yeah. Yeah. So things messing with the electrical function of the heart is
Right.
one way.
Then you have not treating your heart well. You know, maybe you either have
like yelling at it
like
or
yelling
like
at it,
you know
being
being
mean.
mean to your heart.
But no, but
So like
eating
heart disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allowing hypertension to run rampant, where basically your heart's having to work harder than it needs to. You're not working it hard the way you should, like doing exercise and things like that, or you're eating crap, so your heart's having to work harder to get the blood pumping throughout your body.
Well, we're kind of that's kind of getting obscure because like what we deal with is more specifics as
is.
to conditions, right? So what you're alluding to is like ischemic heart disease or coronary artery disease, where those types of life decisions or body conditions over time have led to blockages,
Which can lead to this event. where
which
you're-
can lead to, ischemia, like a blockage in a coronary artery, which then leads to dead tissue in the heart, right? So that's one way. So like what we're dancing around here is there's different categories, right? There's mechanical heart failure, like there's the heart stopped working,
right.
or like electrical dysfunction, like there's something in there firing the wrong way.
Right.
Those that could be causing problems. And like those things might have, I mean, like there's only so many things that we can do to treat those types of
Right.
things, but knowing and understanding why they're happening are like, good to know. And then there's also like, well, the heart stops because the body has run out of oxygen. So like asphyxial a cardiac arrest. So like all of those things are playing together because, knowing which one has caused the cardiac arrest might actually lead to a better outcome in resuscitation, right?
Right. If we can fix the thing that caused the cardiac arrest, we have a better opportunity to get the heart started and get it going again, right?
Right. Like for instance, I think you've mentioned this a bunch of times, Jonathan, right? Like the reason children's heart fail is most likely in most instances going to be related to asphyxia, right?
Right.
Because
Respiratory failure of
some
some
sort of respiratory failure, usually with an airway. Like their airway closes up, they can't breathe, and then that causes asphyxiation. Well, if you can, aggressively treat the asphyxia, like opening the airway, then trying to resuscitate them is going to be much more successful because you're getting more air in.
Right.
Hence why the protocol is different, or the CPR protocol is different for children, because it emphasizes breathing more. Right. That's an example of, okay, well, knowing the reason can be helpful. Same thing with like mechanical failure. Well, I think that's probably the one that shines to me as being the hardest one to treat, because like you can't really do anything about the mechanical failure. Like us, we can't do anything about the blockage in the heart that has stopped the heart from beating.
Yeah, you need to keep them alive for a cath lab.
Yeah, like our job is to get them to higher levels of care.
Right.
And there's a bunch of different things that can cause that mechanical failure of the heart.
Right.
The MI, the STEMI, right?
Yeah.
That's one of them. But like things that also lead to complications that like chronic hypertension lead to mechanical failure, which is a thickened myocardium, like valve diseases, like things where the heart itself just isn't pumping properly. That's a mechanical failure. That you'd mentioned before, chest trauma, like that alone, like, breaking something apart or like damaging the heart from trauma can cause pump failure. Right. And there's another one, which we don't go too deep into, which, I've watched some videos on this, like pericardial tamponade, which is not a Mediterranean like appetizer, which was disappointing to me. But no, that's when there's blood buildup in between the heart and the pericardium, right? The sac around the heart.
Right.
And that actually causes so much pressure directly on the outside of the heart between that membrane and the heart itself. It pushes in on the heart and stops it from beating. So that's something that like, is that an ALS skill? Like
pericardiocentesis? Yeah. So basically we're gonna stick a needle in attached to a syringe into that pericardium and withdraw the fluid around the heart. It's not something that's in everybody's scope of practice, but it is in the national scope of practice. I think it's even listed as a critical care skill in a lot of places. But there's potential benefit if somebody, meets that. You're going to get muffled heart sounds, but it's not something we're typically we're going to assess for it, but we're typically not going to look at that as the first thing. Right?
Sure. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, there's multiple reasons why the heart may have that mechanical failure, because like pressure is pushing on the heart for different reasons. Like it's a mechanical failure, right?
Right.
And some of them have treatments.
Yeah, it's just like any actual mechanical pump that we may use out in the real world that's not inside of your body. If we don't take care of that and abuse that, then parts are going to fail, and our hearts are the same way.
Yeah. Now, what about non-mechanical? What else do we have? We have like electrical dysfunctions, right?
Yes, right.
So those are the big ones, and I think this is like the tie-in. I think most likely, or like the best tie-in to the AED, which has seen such great outcomes in modern like medicine, like the ability to have that thing handy for a lot of people. Those cardiac dysrhythmias.
Right.
Specifically, check me on this, Jonathan. Is it AFib and VFib? No.
No. So ventricular fibrillation, and ventricular tachycardia. Right.
Yes.
Those are the
VTAC
in general. VTAC and VFib. Those are the two. in general. There's exceptions that we could get into later at another date, maybe an ALS podcast talking about cardiology. But in general, those are our two shockable rhythms.
Yeah. So when we're talking about it, like in terms of what the typical AED can help with, those two shockable rhythms, which from what I've read are very prominent in heart failure. Like when you're seeing, like usually the heart just doesn't stop. Like
it's just a constant motor. But the one
is very likely that it could go into one of those two things before it stops. Right.
So
well, go ahead.
And so with VTAC and VFib, the heart is beating, but it is not beating in a manner that is it has the capability to sustain life. So that's the issue. It's the same thing with people who are breathing too rapidly. They're not breathing enough. They're not breathing deep enough. They're not allowing gas exchange to occur. And their breathing is not allowing the sustainment of life. And the same thing happens with the heart with VTAC and VFib, right? It's beating. It's just not enough of a pumping movement to circulate blood.
Yeah, like it's so VTAC is like super fast, so ventricular tachycardia, and then fibrillation, VFib is like it's like a quivering, right? Like it's not even like moving in like a concise pattern, like it's just like shaking or whatever. Right. Or at least that's how they described it to us. So it's like it's hard to get a like because the heart works in pattern, right? Like it's got to be in this sequence of things moving so that it all flows and it pumps in the right order.
Yep.
So if those things aren't firing right, it's like it's just quivering. It's just like, shaking and shivering.
Yeah, I think Josh, one of our instructors, he mentioned like think of it like a bowl of Jello. If you shake it really hard, that's VFib.
Yeah, it's like
whereas with VTAC, it's like imagine a racing engine that's racing out of control.
Yeah, like super super fast.
Yep.
Yeah. Those are pretty good descriptions.
A quivering bowl of Jello, everybody. Like
quivering bowl of Jello.
That is your very finite medical interpretation for the week. So we've got these cardiac, these dysrhythmias, right? Caused by the electrical system. We were talking about the electrical before, right? Now, what are there other forms of electrical, either dysrhythmias or arrhythmias?
Yes. Yeah. So, and off the top of my head.
Well, there's two that we've learned on the BLS side that aren't either VFib or VTAC.
Right.
One is asystole.
Yeah.
Which is a arrhythmia.
Right.
Right.
It's no rhythm. It's nothing.
Deep. Yeah.
It's
a lack of a rhythm. Yep.
Yeah. It's the white guy of rhythm. Like it's got
it's got none.
It's
nothing.
No rhythm. It's like me trying to dance. No rhythm.
I don't buy that.
I do not have. There's a lot of things I'm good at. Dancing is not one of them. And
it's a mindset thing.
Yeah. I could make it happen. No, but asystole is that in the movies when it's like
well, that's when you.
It's like this button. Hold on, wait, is it this?
Yeah.
No, it's hold on. I got a button for it. It's this button. It's that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It always kills me when they shock it.
No. Isn't that the last minute the guy comes over and starts beating him on the chest? Come back.
Oh, that's the
precordial thump.
Precordial thump.
Yeah, that's old school.
Yeah. But the asystole is that's death, right? Like that's essentially the status of the heart once you die.
Yeah, there's no rhythm going on. It's just flatline.
It doesn't mean you can't come back from there. It's just saying that that's not shockable. It's not a dysrhythmia that needs to be then shocked to turn into something better. It's just like, no, we just need to pump that for a while and hopefully the automaticity of the heart will bring it back into electrical activity.
Right.
So that was the other one. And then the one that it's so vague to me that I just don't necessarily understand it all that much is the heart has electrical activity,
right,
but no pulse. So pulseless
electrical
activity.
PEA.
So there's electricity flowing through the musculature, but it's not pumping. Right?
Correct. Well, so there's been some talk on the interwebs lately about some PEAs actually being a super fine VFib.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But so VFib is also pulseless.
True. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't have pulses with VFib. So, and the only reason that we are able to identify VFib for what it is because of the organization that the rhythm kind of has.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It has a bit of a pattern. But with PEA, you could have any rhythm, but you're not going to have a pulse that goes along with it. So, and there's been a push to start like checking femoral pulses, to confirm, traditionally we've checked carotid pulses and that sort of thing, but maybe we could check femoral pulses. And if we have something there, and there's also the talks about, using, point of care ultrasound to actually take a look at what the heart's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But for all of our purposes, we've got VTAC, VFib, those are shockable rhythms, and then we have asystole, meaning no movement in the heart at all, and then we have pulseless electrical activity. So we have no pulse, but then we do have an organized rhythm on the monitor that we're able to visualize.
And then if you want to learn more about cardiac stuff, you can go to school like Jonathan did.
Exactly.
And learn all the cool cardiac stuff. What was the term for that thing that we said the one time where it was like two people hanging next to each other?
God, what was
cardioverting?
Cardioverting.
Yes. Synchronized cardioverting.
Synchronized cardioverting. It's like there's certain things that I'm fine with not understanding completely at this point. It's like I'll figure that out later. But like there's so much more on the cardiac stuff. But we try to keep it within what was in our book, like the actual like BLS stuff, because like we can help with that.
And even in the book, I mean, in some of it they touched on what ALS can do.
Yeah,
versus what BLS can do. But the important thing being a BLS provider is knowing what you can and what you can't do, like knowing how you can help bring that person back.
Yeah. Now there's some other forms of sudden cardiac arrest. One of which did we touch on it before? The old like line drive baseball to the chest.
Blunt force.
Well,
we mentioned it.
We mentioned blunt force, but what do you know what the term is for it?
I don't.
It's
commotio cordis.
Commotio cordis.
He did.
Yeah. So that's an important one to know.
It's catching that heart at just the wrong time.
Right.
It interrupts its rhythm.
Exactly. It's a disruption to it at the precise moment that it shuts it off.
Yep, and it could be a steering wheel. It could be something as simple as a baseball. It could be the helmet of another player. It could be falling out of a tree. Like if you give that force to the heart at the wrong time, this is what you wind up with.
Yeah, that's the one that like you hear about most in usually like sports related stuff.
Yeah,
because that's where you're seeing things where it's like a very like fine point of impact.
Yep.
Right. Usually at the chest, but I'm sure it happens in trauma too. But
the story of
the baseball to the chest,
yep.
or the punch in like the boxing match to the chest, or something like that, or football, so on and so forth. And that's a form of sudden cardiac arrest. Like it just boom, like goes down and somebody just collapses. Now that's usually caused by the electrical stuff, which is commotio cordis kind of falls into that. Where
would that be a shockable rhythm though?
Commotio cordis?
Generally you're going to start CPR immediately with that, and then you will see what the rhythm is, right?
Gotcha.
Like, so it's the commotio cordis is not a rhythm in and of itself.
Yeah,
It is something that it is a physical thing that happens,
Right.
causing the heart to suddenly stop.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it
So-
causes an immediate dysrhythmia.
So would it?
And that
would it-
dysrhythmia may be able to be fixed.
so would it likely go into VFib at that point?
It
I'm not sure off the top of my head. Just that it normally stops the heart. It may
Gotcha.
even be a systole.
Yeah,
or PEA.
it disrupts the rhythm.
Right.
Like there's no. They didn't say it was like a specific rhythm
No,
that
they
it turns
didn't.
into.
Yeah.
But it's a disruption. It's an immediate disruption of the rhythm of the
Right.
heart. Right. But those are sudden. Like, you know, they may be fine 1 second, and then all of a sudden, like, boom, fall off the cliff, done.
Yeah.
they're down, they're collapsed, right? And there's other things that are like heart failures that take a bit longer, like asphyxia. I mean, that's one that does not happen so quickly.
No, that's a buildup.
Right.
Well, after not a buildup, it's a lack thereof.
Well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, how long does it take to asphyxiate?
I mean, it depends.
minutes.
It's 3 minutes. Yeah.
3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for total death. I mean, to pass out though. I mean, I've been choked out in a rear naked choke in like 4 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
That's asphyxia too, right? Like
Right.
it's cutting off the blood flow to the brain. But generally takes a little bit longer.
Right.
It's not as immediate as the electrical stuff. And it could be caused by like systemic, like lack of oxygen. So like
Yeah.
a systemic hypoxia, which just like makes it slow over time.
Right.
Like the heart gradually failing. I'm sure it's compensating. It's beating faster and faster to try and keep up with less oxygen in the system. But eventually, if there's just not enough oxygen in there,
Yeah.
it's going to, eventually run out of oxygen to run itself, and then it's gonna stop working.
Yeah.
I think that's actually what happened to my stepfather, due to lack of oxygen. Like
Right.
he had terrible oxygen saturation, like in the 70s and 80s when when he was having like COPD stuff, and if he came off his oxygen therapy, he would start having immediate hypoxic effects.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all of that leads to like decreased cardiac output and then eventually heart failure, and cardiac arrest. But all right, so we've talked about a bunch of the reasons why the heart could stop, right? What are some other things associated with cardiac arrest? Like there's the cardiac arrest itself, but are there any other signs or things that we'll see in that phase, in that stage of somebody, arresting?
Well, there's the agonal respirations, so the
Yeah.
irregular gasping breaths.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good sign, right? Like something that's closely associated with it.
Right. They're like on death's door at that point.
And it could be confusing to people. I know in CPR class that they do talk about like, hey, this is what an agonal respiration looks like, but this is not breathing that can sustain life, and so it can be confusing to somebody that has either never seen it or it's a stressful situation. But again, that type of breathing, like almost looks like a fish out of water, right?
Yeah.
They're just kind of gasping all of a sudden. But there's no like consistency necessarily to it. It's just your nervous system trying as a last ditch fail. Yeah, one last ditch effort. But again, it's not something that will sustain life. So CPR is what's got to happen.
Yeah,
Right.
And I think that's one of those things where, when you you really need to see it. I haven't seen it in person yet. I have a sense of what agonal respiration is going to look like, but I from what everyone's told me, when you see it, you know it, right? Like
I heard the same thing.
That sense of seeing somebody, they're not necessarily drawing breath, their body's reacting, right?
Yeah,
and and they're just like those. That's a sign. Get on it. Get on CPR, because while they still look like they're breathing, they're not. They need resuscitation. What about kids? Like, any considerations with kid stuff when it comes to resuscitation?
Well, like we said before, like it is hugely important to make sure you get respirations on them. Like get air into the lungs.
Yeah, like if they're having a respiratory issue,
You have to treat it.
Yeah.
It's severe, and it can for them. It can lead faster to death. Mm-hmm. Whereas with an adult, you have maybe a little bit more time to work with.
I think the thing that they stress to us is that typically cardiac arrest in kids is going to be stemming from respiratory failure, not the other way around. Yeah.
Well, and like in the instance of an asthma attack, right, that the issue is that is an obstructive issue, and we could ventilate those kids all we want to the point of causing, barotrauma to them. But in that instance, what they need is albuterol and then maybe some other ALS interventions to open them up to where they can start to do the gas exchange.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, asthma attacks unfortunately kill people, and that's a cause of death in pediatrics, and something that causes pediatric cardiac arrest, unfortunately. So if not dealt with appropriately.
Now, what about Max? I'm sure when you were a new parent, because I remember it was a huge thing for me.
SIDS
is SIDS, right? Now, I think they updated the acronym. It used to be sudden infant death syndrome, but now it's sudden unexpected infant death syndrome.
Seems unnecessary to throw in the unexpected, but I mean, when my daughter was a baby, they were really talking about it. And like you had to make sure that the crib was bare because no one really knew what it was. It was this boogeyman.
Yeah. I just remember them being like, no crib bumpers and no blankets,
no
swaddled only.
Yes.
And it seems like, and this is the crazy part, they've never really like nailed down exactly what it is.
No.
Yeah, they haven't.
Which is sad, but like some kids
is it a brain? Is it something where the brain just hasn't developed enough to have that respiratory drive? Who knows? But
I don't know. But like that's what we're saying. Like we don't know, like they haven't really figured out exactly what it is. I think they've found some trends, like things that like, as if you're dealing with kids, like these are the things that you're like, well, you don't put them in cribs with blankets and stuff like that because that can lead to. I think they've found that is a correlation, right?
Yeah. Co-sleeping is dangerous.
Co-sleeping is dangerous. Nobody should be co-sleeping. But it really it's unknown. But they have some guidance on stuff to not do. But from an EMS side, what are like, unfortunately, there's a chance that we may be called out for one of those calls.
Yeah.
And, hopefully we get there soon. Hopefully we have a chance at resuscitation. But at that point, like, it's really about, falling back to the CPR stuff, right? Like, proper infant CPR, using 2 fingers on the chest, holding the baby, like doing the right compressions to breaths and all that stuff. But it's one of those things we may run across.
Yeah, and it's terrifying. I mean, I can't imagine being a parent and walking into that.
Yeah.
It's I mean, as a provider, it's scary. Kids, and then everybody that I know that has kids, it scares them too.
Yeah.
As a provider, but in those moments we have to compartmentalize that, and we have to be the voice of reason, and at least externally the calm during all of that, and we have a job to do. So we're gonna go back to our infant CPR.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, wish it was, if there's more we could do than that, but it's really like we just may be called to that situation. SIDS is one of those things, or SUIDS is one of those things that we may come across. All forms of heart failure of cardiac arrest that we may see. Everything from adults to kids to little babies for various reasons, mechanical, electrical, all of them. Now, obviously we talked about the like uniqueness, like, okay, there's all these different reasons why it could happen, but at the end of the day,
You just fall back to your training. And
We
do
go
what
to-
you,
yeah,
We
we-
fall back to your training and you do what you've been trained to do.
Exactly. Right.
And also that will help you be objective in that moment.
Yeah.
Because then then what you're doing is I am performing this task. And if it's a very stressful situation, which that's going to be 100% guaranteed, having that training to fall back on and to focus on is going to help you be a better provider.
Exactly. So it means less decision making that we have to do in the moment.
Yes.
And things that will help us, focus on what we need to do, right? Okay, so we've talked about reasons and causes of cardiac arrest. What do we do? Like what?
It's pretty straightforward. You check: are they responsive? Walk up to your patient, shake them, maybe pinch them, see if they respond to your voice, see if they respond to pain, see if they respond to you moving their body. If not, check. Check for breathing. Check for pulse.
How long? How long should we check for pulse?
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
So you're trying to make that decision quickly so that you can get onto the chest.
And why don't we want to wait?
Because you need to get onto them yesterday.
Yeah, you got it on
Time
the
is
chest.
tissue.
Time is tissue.
Yeah.
All right. So unresponsive patient, shaking them, nothing's happening. When you said pinch them, what are we looking for?
A pain response.
A pain response. Now, how are we inducing a pain response?
There's a couple different ways. So they used to teach the sternum rub, which
sternum
apparently
rub,
they've
which-
gone away from.
Yep.
But you can pinch them. There's a very sensitive spot on your shoulder. right here.
Trapezius.
The trapezius. There you go. You can also take a pen or a hard object and press it into a nail bed, so into the top of the nail, which is not pleasant.
Funny thing. I started rewatching House. You ever watch that show?
Yeah.
I couldn't stand the actor.
Hugh Laurie.
I was not the character. It just irked me. I couldn't watch the show.
I mean, he is meant to be irksome.
Yeah.
Like he's an ass. But
He's a jerk.
rewatching all these medical shows. By the way, the season 2 of The Pit started recently.
It started off with
so
a
good.
bang. It's so good.
It's so good. I'm rewatching House, and now I'm picking up things in House. I'm like, this makes this show a whole new level because now I understand a bunch of the stuff.
I want to
they're
rewatch
talking about.
ER.
Yeah, ER is going to be good. A good rewatch. We should do a second podcast where we do like medical rewatches.
Yeah.
Although it
Take
would
a
probably.
shot every time they shock a system.
Oh my god! You know what they used to do? Like every single episode of ER, which I don't know if is actually in real life, but I assume that every time you go into a hospital, you get a chest tube. Like literally every single person that
Yes.
went into that ER got chest tubes.
I have a cold. Yes.
Yeah, give them a chest tube. Get it in there. Like poke a hole in them, shove it in
I
with
broke my toe.
yeah,
Yes.
chest tube. No, that might have been the procedures in the 90s for emergency. I don't know. But apparently they had good writers. Anyway, in that episode of House, I think it's like episode 1 or 2. Cameron, one of the doctors, I like she's picking up the patient's hand and she picked up a pen. And I never realized before that she was actually trying to get a pain response. But I'm watching, I'm like, oh, she's trying to, like that's a pain response thing. And like my wife's like, okay, cool. Yeah, like
She's like, oh God, not another show. He's going to do this
another
through.
thing that he ruins for me. So, yeah, that's that. I was like, you pick up those little things and you're like, hey, they're pretty clever on that show. They're using real stuff. But yeah, so like the nail bed, pushing on the nail bed, but there's a bunch of other pain responses, but we're looking for a pain response.
Right.
We don't get one.
For an infant, you can go after their feet. You
Yeah.
can like push on their feet with your nail, same thing.
So, no response. Like we've checked the pulse. Like how are we checking the pulse?
Carotid.
Carotid artery, right? It's the most immediate, easiest to find.
And plus it allows you to observe the breathing while you're checking for pulse.
Exactly.
You get two for one.
for no longer than 10
100%.
seconds. We don't find anything.
Start CPR.
Start CPR.
Call,
right?
get someone to get an AED.
Well, that's probably the first thing is like, we should probably yell for somebody to help. Otherwise, if we don't, like, I don't think they add enough emphasis to the calling for help thing because they always
right.
kept saying, jump on the chest. Okay, cool. But if anybody else is around or you have a phone, that's probably the point
Yeah.
where you should call 911 and put it next to you or something like that too, because if you don't call them, they're not
They're not going
coming.
to come. And the other thing
Right.
too is it seems silly, but one of the things through the training that has 100% been a help for me is the vocalization of things, because it is so easy to get in your head and be thinking these things through and not vocalizing. And even in something as simple as this, okay, yeah, we got to get the AED, we got to get onto CPR. Well, if you didn't say that, then you're not going to get the help that you need.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, and that's, I mean, like in real life, that's how it's going to go. You're going to verbally communicate those things to people. Now, a lot of, you work with the same people are going to fall right in the line, but you're still going to verbalize those things. It's like, okay, have we done this? Yes, we've done this. Hey, have we done this? Oh, yep, I just did that. And so even if you are gelling as a team, you're still going to verbalize those things. So it's a great point, Max.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that we're also kind of progressing towards here and talking about and getting into is a procedure, right? Like like all these things that come into play to benefit and create better chances of survival, right? So we have a procedure for checking patients. And then once we find out, okay, this patient needs resuscitation, there is a general procedure of things linking together to help with that process.
Right.
And that's called the chain of survival.
Yep.
Right. How many links are there?
3.
There's notes in front of you.
Well, I'm trying to not just go by the notes.
I don't go. I can't tell you what they are without the notes. There's 5. I remember this from our CPR class because I remember seeing like these 5 links on there. And there's basically a 5-step process of like, high or the best chances in resuscitation.
Right.
So the first one is recognition, which we were just talking about. Hey, we got to recognize this patient needs resuscitation, and activation of the emergency medical system. Like that's what, and you could probably make the argument that us being there is the activate. Like, hey, we've been activated. We show up. We start providing emergency medical services. But that may not be the case. We may stumble upon somebody. We have to remember that at that initial point where we recognize that somebody needs resuscitation, that we also need to get things moving in the chain down the line.
But that's the thing is that even like if you're the layperson, then your activation is going to be, hey, call 911. If you're the EMT, your recognition and what you're going to do is call for ALS.
Yes.
So no matter what, you're going to call for a higher level of care.
Even as a paramedic, right? The last cardiac arrest that I worked, we got on scene and we established that this was a cardiac arrest, and immediately got on the radio and told dispatch, hey, we have a working code in progress. Well, what did that do? Yes, we had 3 paramedics on the scene already for this cardiac arrest, but we still needed additional resources to do proper CPR to really fill all those high quality CPR pit crew roles. So even on the EMS provider side of the house, we have an activation that we want to initiate as far as more resources. So
yeah, and it's even if it's just calling for help.
Right.
Like I want more people here than just me.
Yes.
So
100%.
Step 1, recognition, activation of EMS. Step 2, immediate high quality CPR. Everything that we've been talking about so far, proper compressions, good teamwork, and the triangle of life participation, proper ratios of breaths to compressions, timing, all that stuff. High quality CPR.
Right.
That's what we've defined, and it's what we learned in our certification, right? Third step, rapid defibrillation.
Get the AED into action.
Get it there. Like, if you have it, use it. Get it on the chest. Get, like, while CPR is being done, getting that thing, like having somebody who's dedicated just putting those pads on while somebody else is giving compressions, right?
So if you're in the EMT role, you're going to have one in your ambulance, whether it's BLS and you have an AED, whether it's an ALS truck and you have the monitor, you're going to have that with you. If you're in a public space, most public spaces have these.
Yeah, and you could be doing that when you're like, hey, this person call 911 and go get me an AED. Like, get it.
Yeah.
So like recognizing the fact that if you're in a public space of any kind, especially a store, a school, they're going to be on hand.
Yes. Yeah. Most places have
Yeah.
them nowadays.
Yes.
I've now started keeping an eye out on walls for defibrillators.
Like, for instance, if you're in Walmart, if you look up above the aisles, you'll see a heart symbol on a tag, kind of like what you would see with like the price check thing. And that's generally where an AED is going to be found.
Yeah. So step 3, rapid defibrillation, link 3. Link 4 is basic and advanced emergency medical services. So we are that step. We're the ones being called in. Like, this is the chain of survival for everybody. So, activating the EMS system. We come in, good teamwork, providing BLS care, the basic, the meat and potatoes of EMS, right?
Yep.
Like the
basic life support,
and then adding in those additional things from the ALS side that, make it even better. The cardiac drugs, the
cool guy stuff.
The synchronized cardio version.
Exactly.
Like all the cool stuff, the cool guy stuff, the paragod stuff. I'm never going to be able to not use that word anymore. I think it's so funny.
I'm not a paragod. I'm a paramagician.
Paramagician. Not a paragod. I'm a pair of pants. Okay. So chain 4 is the EMS team working together, and chain 5 is advanced life support and post-arrest care. What does that mean?
A hospital.
A hospital. Like, there's better forms of care than like this. Although this is the it's the link that you hope for happening each time. The first 4 are likely going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if there's a cardiac arrest, those first 4 are happening. Sometimes you don't get to 5.
No.
Because if you're not getting ROSC in the field, if that patient just isn't coming back, then usually you're not getting to that last one. But if that happens, it's all the stuff that comes after that miracle of getting ROSC.
Yep.
Right. But yeah, those things happening in sequence every time is what increases the chances of survival in resuscitation. But yeah, I think we've talked about a bunch of this, and like one of the things that we've really I think was emphasized to us that I take to heart, that I really enjoy kind of emphasizing, is like just how important BLS care, or like the BLS side, is to this story. Because at its core, you can have all the whiz bang things, even an AED, like that's awesome. Cardiac epi is awesome. Potassium, whatever other weird stuff that you get. Calcium. Do you guys give calcium in cardiac stuff? So like, I'm just throwing out random elements. On it. Thoracine or Galadium. Do you use it? I don't know.
No.
Lithium. Do you give them lithium?
Uranium. Just uranium. Heavy metals. Just throw them out there.
Yeah, Galadium.
Argon gas.
Noble. Do you use the noble gases? No. Like you can know how to give all those super cool things. You can have the coolest technology, but really, all of us need to be proficient and willing to jump in on chest compressions.
If you don't identify the care, they're just going to lay there dead on the ground.
Yeah.
If you don't get on compressions immediately, you're not going to give them the opportunity to be able to get to further care through either a device or ALS or a hospital.
Yeah, you can give them all the drugs in the world. If you're not pumping the chest, then those drugs aren't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, go to Kensington and find out.
Yeah.
I mean, and really, like to hammer your point home, Mike, I mean, studies show that there's no significant benefit of giving all these drugs that we give on the ALS side of the house. Now, there might be some in specific instances, there might be some drugs that, hey, we're treating the underlying cause of this and alleviating that strain on the heart. And that allows us to get ROSC because there was an underlying cause. But in general, these, all these ALS drugs they're not the thing that saves lives and helps us get ROSC.
Right.
Compressions and early defibrillation are the things.
And airway management too.
And airway management, yes.
And ventilations. Like, those are the things that we're really responsible for. Like the things that lead to success, to lead to ROSC, high quality CPR, AED use, airway management, proper BVM ventilations, and that's the core story, right? Those things need to be happening. And then, if you can get some ALS stuff in there too, sweet. But
you gotta let them do something.
yeah. You gotta let those guys earn their 1 year of schooling.
Sometimes it's 2 years of school
Or
for
2
some
years,
folks.
or 18 months. What did you do it in? It was
10 months.
10 months.
It was a year, but
was a year, yeah.
By the end of
Not
capstone
to mention,
and everything.
not to mention the 15 years of experience
class
before
was 10
that.
months
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the things that we're really responsible for. Always trying to lead towards ROSC.
Yes.
That's what we're hoping for in the field. All right, question. Maybe for Jonathan, because I'm sure you've actually run into this. Running into cardiac arrest. Like sometimes you might get it, you might lose them, it might come back again. You get them into the ambulance. What do you do in the ambulance if you get another cardiac arrest?
So if we have ROSC and then we rearrest, right? So it kind of depends on where we're at. If we're a good distance away from the hospital, you're going to have your driver pull over. Hopefully, you've got a ambulance full of folks to help you work it. But let's say worst case scenario, it's you and your partner. You got ROSC, you got him in the ambulance, you started transporting, they rearrest. You're going to have your partner pull over, and they're going to get in the back and they're going to help you, and you're going to start the process all over again until you potentially get ROSC again, right? So we're going to do chest compressions. We're going to do airway management. We're going to do defibrillation if we have shockable rhythms. And we're just going to run it exactly like the code we ran initially.
Now, why do we stop?
Because it is, so it is unsafe. We used at the onset of my career, we did this all the time. We do compressions, flying down the road at 60, 70 miles an hour. And, it'd be like a clown car of us in there, and you're trying to do compressions and, bouncing around, and you're not doing very good compressions, and you're unrestrained, and the driver's, going balls out on getting you there. And it's just not a safe environment, and it's not an effective way to provide CPR. So we don't do that anymore. We provide that care on scene. And if we get ROSC, we start to transport. And then if we lose ROSC and we rearrest, we're going to pull over and we're going to start that process all over again. And hopefully we'll get ROSC again. If you've gotten ROSC once, the chances of, hopefully getting it back again are there. So if you're quick about it. Now, that being said, there's exceptions to every rule.
Sure.
If you're within, a couple minutes of the hospital or what have you.
Like say you lose the pulse in the parking lot pulling into the hospital.
Yeah. So
just get to the hospital, right?
If you're the sole provider back there, you're going to go ahead and start your compressions and run your compressions, and maybe even do a rhythm check and see if you can give a shock in the meantime. And one of the things that's going to be big is your partner getting some additional help. If it's
in
only
the ambulance.
Yeah. So, and then getting them into a recess bay and starting that pit crew CPR all over again with the staff at the hospital and participating in that.
Question.
Yes, sir.
So is that where a Lucas device would come in?
Yeah. So that's exactly one of the reasons the Lucas device is very beneficial. Not to mention, and we've kind of talked about, some mechanical CPR devices. They allow us, with limited resources to provide quality compressions, but then in a moving ambulance, they also allow us to provide quality compressions. So I would leave the Lucas device in place while transporting. Maybe it's not on because we've gotten ROSC.
But then you can just hit a button.
But then we can just hit a button and we can return to providing those compressions. And that's a lot safer for everybody involved, and the patient gets effective compressions.
Now, not to derail the conversation, but just because I know we like to make sure that we're being clear about what things are, and we have not talked about Lucas devices a ton on this on the show. So a Lucas device being I believe the term is a automatic chest compression, like, or a mechanical chest compression machine.
Yeah, mechanically assisted chest compression device.
Yeah, or chest compression device. There's not an industry standard, I think, term.
Right.
Everyone kind of defines them differently. Like Defibtech has one, Stryker has one, which is the Lucas.
Right.
So the saying a Lucas device is like saying Kleenex, right?
Yeah.
It's a tissue, right? So I just want to make sure that we're like everyone knows what we're talking about when we talk about a Lucas device in terms of something that is like basically the patient, it gets slid around the outside of the patient and then mechanically provides chest compressions automatically without somebody having to do it. Right.
Right. And Master Medical Equipment's, ARM, XR device is just another example of a mechanically assisted CPR
Zoll
device.
has one. Like everybody makes one.
Yeah. So that would be a great time for some mechanically assisted CPR device.
I think
to be utilized
for sure.
It's way safer. And it really, like, with being in a place with such limited resources and being able to work a code with those limited resources, and effectively, I would say, it is an advantage to having one of those devices. They can be kind of costly, but I would say they're worth their weight in gold. And I think they really do benefit a community by having them.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think it's definitely a safer way to transport somebody if they rearrest.
I think at some point during this show, we're going to have, we need to bring in some sort of discussion about those, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, those mechanical chest compression devices, because there's so much controversy, especially this year with like some studies coming out and recommendations from the American Heart Association that I think has definitely caused a lot of good discussion and debate. But for anybody who starts following along with nerd stuff like that, but they exist and they're super useful tools. Whether or not you're on the fence of like, oh, should we use them? Should we not use them? They like. There's no doubt that in the process of providing chest compressions, that it allows you to have basically a provider that gives chest compressions with unlimited amount of time without missing a beat.
Yeah.
And you don't need to devote a person to it. Like that's, where you find that fits within the process, that's debatable, but that is what it provides. It's super cool.
Right.
Like the fact that is there. Now, in the instance you were talking about, oh, well, we have ROSC back, they're in the ambulance. Now they lose it again close to the hospital. Is that the time to then, let's grab the Lucas and let's start putting it on the patient? Like, probably not. Like you're just going to start giving chest compressions.
No, I would say like if you find yourself 20 minutes out or 15 minutes out and you've lost ROSC, that's probably a really good time to pull over, get it installed, get it on so you can get moving again. I
don't agree.
No.
I don't know enough to agree or disagree really, but the kind of methodology is working it on scene. If you don't have enough people to
provide, I'm saying like you've started your transport.
Yeah.
And you're in that situation where you're 10 minutes out from the hospital.
Right.
And now you've lost it.
Yeah. You stop the ambulance and you work the cardiac arrest on the side of the road. That's what they teach.
Yeah. So
gotcha.
And one of the things, right? Say you have a Lucas device available. I can tell you that it's gonna go. You're gonna go ahead while you're on scene and put that on the person, and then it's not coming off until either we get to the ER or until we've terminated resuscitative efforts. It's not coming off. So it's not one of those things of like, oh well, we have the Lucas, but we didn't use it while we were in the house, and we got ROSC, and now we're transporting. So we wouldn't do that. We would probably in the process of how we efficiently apply those devices, it would get applied before we even started transport.
Gotcha. But I think the trend in EMS, and I'm not saying I land on any side of this fence. I'm just saying like this is what the everything that we've kind of heard and learned is you work the cardiac arrest where you are, especially if you have limited resources, because doing anything in the moving ambulance is more dangerous to the providers.
Yeah.
So you stop the ambulance, you work the arrest on, because what's the point of rushing if you don't have ROSC?
Sure.
So you work it to give them the best chance of getting ROSC and then start moving again, or get more resources to where you are so that you can have better chances of getting ROSC. But at that point, you're probably got ALS providers in the truck anyway that you're en route with. So you stop the truck, you provide, like, this is what they say. Nothing is more disappointing to me than getting into EMS and then them telling me that you don't get to rush around with lights and sirens on and like ride on top of the gurney while providing chest compressions at 60 miles an hour. I wanted to do all that. But like when you look at
a little bit.
When you look at the data and people are like, no, if rushing them to the hospital while they're dead doesn't actually improve their chances.
Because we're doing everything that they would do in the resuscitation room at the hospital.
How dare you
in the
do
back
that?
of the
rare
ambulance,
exceptions of like some incredibly heroic efforts, like a aortic cross clamping or something like that. Like, with few exceptions, most of the stuff that you're going to be doing, you can do in the ambulance. So it's like you have to prioritize working the code, and that's more important than getting them quickly. But things change too. Who knows? Maybe someday they're going to be like, oh no, we've actually found out that it's better to run at breakneck speeds. I don't know, but like
So one of the things that, and this is my opinion, this is my personal opinion. If I had somebody already like hooked up to a mechanical compression assist device, I would probably initiate that, and we would continue transporting and manage that way.
Sure.
That's me, Jonathan Aldridge, talking. That's not me speaking for you guys. That's not me speaking to anybody's protocols. Because I want that forward motion towards that facility.
Yes.
Knowing that, yes, we're going to do the same thing in the back of the truck, but I may have more resources available to me there.
Yes.
In that transport period, right? Because a lot of times you parse down the amount of people that, right, like you said, Mike, they come out of the woodwork to come out and help work the code. And then at some point you kind of limit your staff to what you can fit in the back of the ambulance. And now you're 100% correct. If we don't have one of those devices, we're stopping.
If it's not on already, you got to work the code.
That's the only safe thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's the only effective thing to do for the patient.
And I think that's really another testament to those types of devices, is that it really is the only thing that I think would safely allow for that type of treatment of combining movement with cardiac or with compressions, because otherwise you have to have somebody standing up in an ambulance while you're trying to move fast, and it's
not safe.
It's not safe. But yeah, so I was always curious about the nuances around, well, what if you're trying to do this on the move? And really, I think the consensus is you don't have to it's generally better to not do movement and resuscitation at the same time. That's why we work the scene. That's why we stop and pull over and get as many providers on it as possible. I think that's the general rule nowadays. But
what he wanted to hear was that you tow the gurney behind the van, the ambulance, while going 60 as he's on the chest. That's what he wanted to hear.
I wanted to hear that they hand me a jetpack and then I get to fly the patient to the nearest hospital like the Rocketeer.
Yeah, instead of no. I know you have sirens and I have lights. Yeah, turn those off and drive the speed limit. And
Jennifer Connelly was in that movie. She was.
She was indeed.
The Rocketeer is such a great movie.
It is.
It's funny though, because there's not a lot of stars in that movie. Like I can't really name any of them, but like she's
the only one that matters to me.
If you really want a great view into like Art Deco, that 1950s time frame. Oh, so good.
It was.
I'm a big aviation buff. I always wanted to wear that friggin' jetpack. It's so cool.
He just wanted the helmet.
The helmet was pretty cool too. But anyway, okay. So we've talked about resuscitation.
We have.
We've talked about a bunch. Now, Unfortunately, sometimes we are not successful, right?
Right.
Sometimes we have to stop.
Yep.
When? I guess that's the big question. When do we stop?
It's all going to be dictated by your protocol.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, that protocol may have some, medical director preference.
Yep.
And that may also have some, depending on your locality or your state, that may have some state law involved in what you're doing. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to what your protocol says for that particular situation that you're in. Does it meet a special situation? And we'll talk a little bit about those here in a minute. But and then eventually, depending on what your protocol says, you may have to call medical control and request that resuscitative efforts be terminated after having worked the code for the appropriate amount of time and having done the appropriate things. So
I think here what they taught us was really there really isn't a time where we get to decide.
Right.
Other than, hey, if you've put in all the effort you can and you're like, we just don't think this is working, call medical direction. And then they're the ones that are ultimately gonna give you the keep going or try this or okay, discontinue.
Right.
But the local protocols are really what govern, I think, like for instance, in North Carolina, I learned, and I haven't looked it up, but from what the EMT told me over the phone, if it's a witnessed arrest, they were obligated to take them to a hospital where they get pronounced at the hospital. You can't pronounce them on scene. So regardless of whatever signs they were getting.
That's interesting. So yeah, I have definitely based on protocol, following protocol, worked a witnessed arrest in the field. We worked it and did all the different steps that we needed to go through and worked that problem to its terminus or termination point, and then called medical direction, told the medical director what we had, and they were understanding that, hey, we're not going to do anything else for them in the ED, so I'm giving you permission to terminate that. And at that point, we call time of death and start to terminate those resuscitative efforts and move forward in the process of notification.
Now, certain things in there, I would imagine they're going to influence whether or not we are asking or not asking or advocating for not stopping. Like if we're seeing ROSC come and go, I assume that's probably that's one of those things where it's like, no, we're gonna keep working this because if it keeps coming back,
basically what you have, and that's what I say, like what I mean by working the problem, the circumstances surrounding your arrest are going to, largely dictate, hey, is medical direction going to want you to transport this? Are they? And that's a good example of when they might want you to. Hey, we've had ROSC twice and they've gone out and we're working it again. We've reached that time frame. What would you like us to do? Do you want us to go ahead and transport you? And a lot of times they'll say yes.
Yeah.
In that instance. So it's very much going to be up to the medical control that's working at that particular time and what your protocol says.
Yep. All right. So we're getting towards the kind of conclusion of this chapter of this. But I guess the one last thing that we have to touch on here, maybe a couple other things, but I think one of the hardest things, the natural progression of things that you have to do after the termination or as part of the termination,
right,
is the thing that they never told us that we would have to do in EMS. Is notifying family. That either someone has died or is going to die. Like technically at that point they are dead, but like the death notification, like that seems to who's ready for that shit. Like that.
I think if you are, then you probably have some problems.
And
I mean, it should shake you.
Yeah.
It should be uncomfortable. It should be something that you treat solemnly, that you treat with care and patience and, a little bit of grace.
Yeah. I read and they didn't really go too deep into the process of doing it, but I read a really good, it was a Reddit thread of like, hey, this is what we do. And this is our procedure for doing this. And I'd love to get your take on it, Jonathan, because it seems like, yeah, that's the way you should do it.
Right.
Where it's like, first off, you don't give any false hope, right? Like that's the big one that even on like regular calls where
because you're going to cling on to it.
Yeah. Like you try not to give it, you don't lie to anybody because you're disingenuous and then you lose credibility. So you never give false hope or, that can be as cruel as being,
right.
Blunt about it. Right.
Right.
If someone's available, having a provider from the team, like your team leader or like, somebody that isn't actively doing something in the resuscitation efforts, move away and speak to the loved one, like while it's still happening. Like you don't stop and then talk to them. You keep it going. Right. And you be as sincere as you can and tell them that like, while they're trying to do everything they possibly can, like, this is what we're seeing. We're not seeing any response from the heart. There is no breathing. We've pushed everything we can from a medicine standpoint. Like you lay it out for them and tell them,
right,
like we're just not seeing any signs of life.
Right.
And then before you stop, you give them the chance to say something to the loved one, because that right now we're keeping their heart beating. We're beating it for them. We're breathing for them. They may be able to hear you. You can take this opportunity to say anything that you want to them before we discontinue. Yeah. And then once they do that, once they have a moment, because even though at that point there's no good possible outcome coming from it, the team working to make sure that happens, to give that moment to the family, you're working it for them, right?
Sure.
That to me was like, man, I think that's about as good as you can go.
Yeah, and the finality hasn't happened yet. Like there's still that whether it's realistic or not, there's still that hope. Okay, they're still working on, they're still doing something, and I think it completely changes how the perception is of the loved one.
Yeah,
that's not a bad list of things. There's some things I would add to that.
Yeah, good.
So of course we don't want to give any sort of false hope. And being very direct about when the time has come and we, have gotten the go ahead from medical control to discontinue or terminate resuscitative efforts. That's a good time for that person who has made that call to step aside with the family. They want to, confer with the team. It's like, hey, we've gotten permission to terminate. And then the team is going to take care of that person. And if the police have to be involved and have to do some investigation, we want to leave some things in place until they've done that. Right. So we may have to leave our interventions in there, but if the police don't have to do an investigation, I like to clean the person up, clean the mess up, because you've got things thrown kind of everywhere during cardiac arrest, and really give that person, that family member, an opportunity to see their loved one in that state, without all that stuff on one last time. When I approach a person whose family member, we've coded and whatnot and terminated efforts, I'm very direct with them. I tell them exactly what we've done. Right. Hey, we've used this device to provide compressions to them. We've been breathing for them. We've given them every single medicine that we could give them, that would give them the best chance. And ultimately, they're deceased now. Right. And I like to tell people that I use the word deceased or they're dead. I think being direct with people that way, it feels weird. Even now, it feels weird to say, I'm sorry, ma'am, your husband is dead. I'm sorry, sir, your wife is dead. That feels weird, but it's because of the directness. It helps somebody probably accept what is going on a little bit better than flowered up language, right? Oh, they've passed. Oh, that sort of thing is not as direct as we need to be in that moment. We have to be direct.
Yeah.
And really, here's another thing that I want to talk about. So, it talked about, let's see, in our notes, where is it at? Post-arrest care, right? Right. So post-arrest care still applies. And we have our patient that we tried to resuscitate, but at this point, we've done everything we could do for them. And now our focus shifts onto providing care for the family.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
And that's, that may not be that physical care. That may be that emotional support. Right. And it's a tough thing to do. Well, you guys mentioned that it's one of those tough things. It is. It's one of the toughest things you have to do in this career is to let somebody know that their loved one has died.
Yeah.
And I've probably done it a dozen or just under a dozen times, in the last few years, and it's still one of those things. Matter of fact, I did that today. It's still one of those things that I have to kind of get my head and thoughts straight on before I approach that family. And it's just it's part of the gig.
Yeah.
But it's something as right. We're all kind of into the education space as trainers and things like that. It's one of the things that as a profession, we do a poor job of preparing our students and our new providers for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the repercussions of having to do it.
Yes.
Not only
it is an emotionally
yeah.
taxing.
Yeah. It's the fact of having to deliver that news can be a traumatic stress.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm not saying it's, the same thing as seeing a car accident or a grave injury, but that emotional stress of having to tell somebody that can be something for somebody that they are not equipped to handle without some tools or some help.
Yeah. It's a tough thing.
Yeah.
And if to our listeners, just kind of take the talking points I've put out there and that Mike's put out there, and you're going to have to develop your own process for how you go about this. And then you're going to have to develop your own process for de-stressing after having to deliver that type of news to someone. So I would encourage everybody to, have a self-care process that helps you get out some of the stress of that.
Yeah.
And it's okay to create a script in your head in the same way that you create a script when you're going to call a report to the hospital. It's okay to kind of have a script to go off of. So.
Yeah, I agree.
And I agree. I think it's something that in our class, they touched on it, but it should have been given way more gravity than it was.
Yeah. And hopefully it's one of those things that you don't have to do yourself for the first time. And you got some good guidance, some mentors there that you can see the right way to do it as you're riding along and being an assistant to more senior providers.
Right.
Man, that's a tough one to do cold without, I can tell you that, it might not get harder than delivering the news to your family the first time you do it, but hey,
Yeah.
if you're going to do it, go big, I guess. I don't know. But we've I think we've talked through pretty much everything we can in terms of resuscitation.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anything else? Anything we missed?
If we quickly want to touch on some special considerations for some times where we may,
Okay. Yep.
yeah, just really fast, right? There's some instances where we have causes of cardiac arrest, and we're providing resuscitative efforts to the patient that maybe check a box that we need to look at. So hypothermia, right, may require a prolonged intervention as far as resuscitation is concerned, right?
Well, this one's easy. This one is.
yeah.
I mean, I know it's probably a trope, the phrase, but
Right.
they ain't dead until they're warm and dead.
Right, exactly.
Like
you hit it on the head, Mike.
I heard that even before EMT school, like from the stories of like these people who have fallen into like ice,
Ponds yeah.
and stuff, like
Like
frozen
ice
lakes. Like the body does amazing things when it's hypothermic, and can sustain like low oxygen for like an hour sometimes. Like it's crazy.
Right.
No matter how long they were under, you treat it like you make them warm and then resuscitate them, and you might get them.
Right. There's and one of the things about the hypothermic patients, we have to be very gentle with them. We can't rapidly rewarm them. We need to, and then we need to be very gentle about moving them as well, because we could, let's say they haven't arrested yet, we could cause them to arrest by jostling them.
Sure.
Or if we've gotten ROSC after working them, we could cause a rearrest if we're not careful.
Sure.
So that's something we want to think of. The other thing is submersion, right? So it goes along with that.
Similar.
Yeah, falling through that ice skating pond. Right. So those submersion arrests are asphyxial, right? We have water in the airway and in the lungs, and so it's an oxygenation and a ventilation issue. And so where we would typically, and this is, you're going to follow your protocols, but the literature has started to shift what is best practice. And so with a drowning arrest, one of the first things we want to do is give them rescue breaths first, and then initiate those compressions, because the hope is like if we're fast enough that we will be able to
kickstart that system.
Start that. Give those rescue breaths, and that's enough to kickstart the body into hopefully coughing up that water, and then restarting the heart and and breathing, right? That's definitely something we want to consider. But those are some special circumstances that we might want to consider regarding cardiac arrest.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and like I'm sure there's other ones out there too, but the the ones that we had in our book, those are two that I think are good ones to call out, because they do approach it a little differently than the standard resuscitation. All right. There's a lot.
Yes.
It's a lot about resuscitation.
Yes.
However, there's been one tool that we
mentioned it a few times.
Yes. And probably have spoken very highly of it in general. And I think that's a good segue into our tools of the trade,
which is the AED.
The AED. What is an AED?
Automatic electric defibrillator.
I think it's automated external defibrillator, isn't it?
You're probably right. It sounds more official.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's automated external defibrillator.
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay. And this is a special episode because we have a sponsor for our tools of the trade this week,
indeed.
Which is the sponsor of tonight's episode, Master Medical Equipment, and the makers of this fine AED, Defibtech, Both of them were kind enough to send us over a Lifeline auto defibrillator, which, like emotionally, I know this is like, we try to take emotion out of this job, but you can't entirely. But the fact that they were kind enough to send this over here to help us make our lives safer too. And that will be kept in a place that can be used. Like we like having this on hand is, a huge like solace to us.
No, 100%.
So we like to thank them for being kind enough to send us that way. And it's an amazing tool to have. And Max is going to tell us all about AEDs and why they're awesome.
Well, why don't we talk about this one since we're talking about it?
This one in
what
particular?
Makes this one different and special?
Well, this one is different and special because it's here in this room.
But also, so we've seen a bunch of different kinds that we've handled either through CPR class, also in the classroom itself. But this one specifically is fully automatic. So it is going to not just do reading your
Electrical activity?
Thank you. My brain is not doing great. But anyway, so it's going to read. It's going to read you, and the main important thing about it is a lot of these. It's going to tell you when to shock. So it's going to give you. It's going to sense the rhythm. It's going to advise shock, and it's going to tell you when to do it. Whereas this one does it automatically. So once you've got the pads on, and you turn it on, it is working on its own to tell you when to clear. It's telling you when it is. Sensing the rhythm, so there's no other impulse that you need to put into it.
It's true. So like there's a bunch of different styles and features on these AEDs. They run from everything in the most dead simple, like, can't mess it up approach to more manual, like with more buttons and features and screens and readouts and information and stuff like that. This particular model that they sent us is very much on it's so simple a caveman can do it.
Exactly.
Which is very good for us. I mean, like I know how we roll, Max. So like the Geico approach to AEDs is smart of them. Because like it's one button. It literally has one button. You push the button and it tells you everything that's going to do, and it does it on its own. It literally just counts down and then shocks for you. So it's not to say that is it's always better. It's not necessarily an advantage. It's just all these things like they've been so good over the years of creating AEDs that are so simple that they bring this life-saving technology into the hands of lay people, and that's awesome.
But this is the first one that I've seen and had hands on that literally it's one button
and it does. Yeah.
If you have a lay person that has no training in this, they have not taken CPR class, as long as they can read the instructions on where to place the pads and they know how to hit the green button, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So the idea of this being able to be applied by anyone, and I do mean anyone, I think is a beautiful thing.
Simplicity in AEDs, I think, is amazing.
And I think that is something that specifically is special about this particular one.
Oh, I think it's pretty cool.
That I think is pretty cool.
But yeah, I think if we're talking about features in AEDs for a moment, some things that I think are really nice to have, and not to like. We do these sponsored podcasts or the sponsored sections, and I try not to like turn it into like, hey, we're just going to talk about just this thing. But there are features that this has and other AEDs have, which I think are important to call out. The simplicity is by far the biggest one. Clear instructions, the voice prompts. Like this is a great example of that. A CPR metronome. Not a must-have, but I think a really cool and good tool to have to help keep the right pace on your compressions.
But I think that's really important too.
It is, yeah.
Because again, if you're doing this, you are going to be stressed out.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have something that
time dilates when you're stressed.
Yeah. So the fact that you have something that is not just voice prompting on what you should be doing, but also giving you that rhythm that you can follow, it's only going to make your CPR that much better.
Yeah. And ultimately, with all the whiz-bang features and all these things that AEDs can have, I think what I enjoy seeing out there is simple, affordable, like solutions
Yes.
for getting AEDs in the hands of more people and on the walls of more places.
Yeah.
And this is a great example. And AEDs like this are great examples of how we can make sure that they are readily available out in the world.
Yes.
So, and they like last for a very long time.
Exactly.
Most of it,
the batteries are ridiculous.
yeah, like this one's got like a 5-year,
Yeah.
a 5-year lifespan on that battery. That's awesome. And it gives you a little status indicator telling you it's good all the time. It's great.
So just a little history on AEDs and where they started, how they started. It was an early innovation in 1899. Physiologists Prevost and Patelli discovered electrical shocks induce fibrillation in animals. That's kind of where it started. In 1947, a guy named Dr. Claude Beck performs the first human external defibrillation during surgery.
Okay. So
And that's kind of where the idea of that ability to shock that heart back into rhythm happened. And it happened back in 1947. And in 1965, a guy named Dr. Frank Pantridge, the father of emergency medicine, it was what he's titled, develops the first practical portable defibrillator in Belfast, used in ambulances.
have you ever seen a picture of one of those early defibrillators?
The one that I saw was
a long
craziness.
So they look like they're the size of like remember console televisions?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
where it's like this big cabinet thing.
Yeah, the one I saw looked like from Frankenstein's lab.
Yeah.
In the back of an ambulance.
Like they called them portable defibrillators. I saw
Because they
one
could put them on wheels.
from like the 1970s. Like,
Yeah.
and it had all these dials and like, you know, electrical symbols on it and stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing looked like it was like, you know, something that they carry in the Man's Strongest World competition.
Yeah.
Like it's huge.
Yeah, like the fact that it's portable is only because they put an engine and wheels applied to it, and then it could get from point A to point B. In EMS, it started back in the 70s. The heart aid was developed by Dyack, Wellborn, and Ruhlman, and emerges as the first true AED. And it featured adhesive pads, computer analysis, and designed for public access and EMT use. And it improved survival chances.
Well, I would assume so.
Yeah.
Like AEDs seem to be very, very good at doing that.
And the heart rate was the first one. In the 80s, medical bodies advocate for AEDs in the field, recognizing their potential to save lives outside hospitals.
Yeah. So it seems like they started really catching on the 70s and 80s.
Yep. And then as time went on, they were refined. They were made smaller, more portable, easier to use. The main impact on EMS is that it gave true pre-hospital care for cardiac emergencies.
Yeah. It seems to be like, you know, since when did you say they started? Like the 40s?
That was the first in hospital.
Yeah. So like you can see this progression, which I think is really interesting about AEDs in particular, where they start in this clinical hospital environment. Then they start moving outside the clinical hospital environment by people who are like the most advanced people that, you know, the paramedics, well, paramedics didn't really start coming around until the 1970s or so.
Right.
But like as they start going out into the field, the paramedics, the ones that know the most, they're the ones that are using the AEDs and using them effectively because they need to know what to look for and how to use them, right? And then as the technology progressed, more and more people are able to use them. They shrunk and like they start proliferating to everywhere, right? And like, but you know, now they've moved beyond just the EMS side where it's a medical tool.
Yeah.
And now it's as ubiquitous as having like a road cone or like, you know, a spill kit on a wall
and that's, I think,
in a business.
Yeah, and that's the most important evolution of them is that public access. And not just public access, but public education through CPR programs. That's really, to me, like up until now, like the biggest evolution of them.
Yeah.
Is that ability for anyone to recognize what it is, be able to use it, and have it be effective for them.
Yeah. I think that's a huge testament to like the industry in general. Like, you know, people have been innovating. They've been pushing these things. Providers have been using them. Like, you know, doctors have been, you know, doing studies on them. I think that's huge. And then, you know, to call out the like, I'm not always the one that gives gives kudos to corporations and big companies, but like, the fact that big companies like Defibtech or even the other companies like Zoll and Stryker and whoever else have been taking AEDs and pushing the technology and pushing to keep prices down to make them more easily affordable.
Yeah.
And
Right.
the fact that a life-saving device is at is at a state right now where it's a practical decision to have one on the wall of every business out there. Mm-hmm. That's huge. Like, that's awesome that people have made that a priority and initiative.
Yeah. No, I mean, it definitely has taken something that was a death sentence and turned it into something that can be correctable.
Yeah. So AEDs are awesome.
Yes.
I highly recommend, if you have the ability to have one nearby, you should. I know it's one thing that I've been looking at for a very long time going, I wish I had one of those. And that's important.
One thing that I saw a group of people talking about was the idea that if depending on what your health care is, at the end of the year, you can have money that's left over in your account. And sometimes you can use that money to buy medical items.
Oh yeah, like you can have a FSA or HSA.
And you can easily have enough in that to purchase one of these. And I think this is one of those investments that as a family in a household, I don't think it's wasted.
No, and I believe that over time these things are getting more and more affordable, and refurbished kits. I might be talking on my butt on this because I don't really know all the things, but there are refurbished AEDs available, which bring the price point down even more.
Sure.
So there are options, and
it's not unattainable. It's one of these things that I think definitely as a family, it is something that you should consider at least looking at, if nothing else.
Yeah, like the first aid kit and the AED are and the fire extinguisher. Those three things should be in every home.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I mean, if you can keep the red stuff in and you can keep the thing that pumps the red stuff moving and you can keep from burning to death.
Yeah, keep the hot stuff in the hot stuff container. I don't know.
It covers the bases.
Yeah. Cool. So I think that's a good overview of the AED, where it came from, how it's kind of progressed. Why this is, there are some features in these things that make them better than others. But one thing I think we should definitely talk about, which we did not necessarily get into earlier, is are there any specific considerations or things that we should know about using an AED?
Sure. Well, first thing is it uses adhesive pads and that go directly onto contact with the skin, and it's important to know where they go.
Yeah, I think pad placement's a big thing, and it has to go on the skin.
It does.
Right?
It won't work over a jacket.
No. So this is where a good pair of shears come in handy too. Shout out to X Shears.
Yeah.
They make the best shears. Using those to expose the skin, important.
And understanding that in this sense, in this place, modesty has no purpose.
Yeah, you disregard modesty for life-saving
that.
purposes, right?
Yep.
So we got to get those pads on.
Correct.
While someone else is still providing chest compressions, right?
Yes.
So another person's usually kind of like, if you're doing two rescuer CPR, one person's doing chest compression, the other person's putting the pads on. All right. There are things we learned about AED placement that kind of throw a little bit of wrench in the works. Like, the typical placement's pretty easy. Like, it's upper right chest of the patient and lower left abdomen, right? And that makes an electrical pathway that goes through the heart.
Right.
It's kind of simple when you think about it. That changes, I think, a little bit for smaller patients, kids roughly under 55 pounds. Right. They make kid pads.
They do.
Versus adult pads. Like, the ones with this AED are adult pads.
Yep.
They make kid pads. If the kid is small, you want to use the kid pads, and you want to place them on the front of the chest, directly over front of the heart, and then on the rear of the back, kind of on either side of the chest, right? Now, that is really just to avoid the fact that the pads should not touch.
Right.
That's the main thing. So if the kid's larger, you don't have to use that placement. And you don't have to use kid pads. Right. That's the other thing to remember about these. They're pretty versatile. It's better to use kid pads because it reduces the charge that they get delivered. But the adult pads can be used on kids.
They can be used.
But what about some non-standard things like One of the ones we learned about was pacemakers, right?
Yeah, so you don't want to put the pad directly over pacemakers. Now, most pacemakers, not most, but some pacemakers are placed over the patient's left of their left side
Right,
of the
where
chest.
you would put the pad, right?
Right.
So where do we put it if there's a pacemaker?
opposite.
Okay, you can put it opposite. I think the general recommendation is you move it like 1 inch away from
Right.
the pacemaker. So
Yeah.
you keep it as close to that area as possible. So if it's the upper right chest,
Yep.
Instead of putting it opposite, because then you would have to change the placement of the other pad, you move it 1 inch off of like as close to the area as possible, but 1 inch away
the
from
pathway
off the pacemaker.
Pathway, yeah.
What about hairy people?
You need to shave them, maybe.
Shaving them. That's why usually you know what? One of the things I'll have to put in this is a razor.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep. 100%.
What if we don't have a razor? Is there another thing we could do? Jonathan?
If you have a second set of pads, what you can do is use them almost like a waxing strip
And rip them off.
place them and pull the hair off. But if you're limited to one set of pads, shaving them is your best option.
Yeah, do you know how expensive these pads are? They're like
very-
hundreds of dollars.
They're very expensive.
I'm not wasting those. You know what I will keep with it though? Some duct tape or maybe some chest seals
A chest seal would work great.
I mean, even some trauma shears to
to shave to
clip
mow it
to
down a
clip
bit.
away. Yeah,
Yeah.
to clip away. You're not gonna get as close, but you could clear enough of the hair to
for your particularly Wookiee-like patients.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
myself.
Guilty.
guilty.
It's just some dudes are more masculine than others. I don't
Exactly.
know the body hair.
Just think about
But I think that the hair one is a big one, and just a simple razor
Yeah.
to help kind of shave those things because you need good contact with the electrodes. What about medical medicine patches? Like sometimes you might find a patient with a nitroglycerin patch.
True. You should remove it, shouldn't you?
Yes,
or a pain patch.
or a pain
Yeah.
patch.
Patch.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
Yeah.
Take it off.
Yeah.
You don't shock over top of it.
With your gloved hand. Take it off.
Yeah, take it off with your gloved hand for sure. BSI seen is safe.
Yes.
What if they're wet?
You should dry them.
You should, because the pads aren't going to stick very well to a wet patient. What if they're wet, hairy, and I don't know.
Just walk away.
Yeah.
Just walk away. Say sorry. I did everything I could. Tough luck.
No, but you should dry them, or you dry them real quick and then put the pads on. Can you shock somebody in the rain?
Yeah, rain, small puddles. You're gonna be fine.
Yes.
If you can get them out of any puddle or any body of standing water, we
Yeah.
want to do that.
I think the
But,
guidance is small puddles, small standing water, rain, okay. But if it's like a big wet area where you're in the same puddle of water as the patient is,
Probably not a
Right.
good idea.
not a great idea with electrical currents and stuff.
Yeah.
Same thing with metal surfaces, although they say
Yeah.
metal surfaces is not counter or contraindicated for AED use, as long for the most part it's fine. And same thing with the wet ground. It's not as big of an issue as you would think it is,
Right.
but get them out of big,
If you can.
big standing water, move them out.
Yeah.
Because it's more about the potential to shock other people around them. What about pregnant? Can we use AEDs on pregnant women?
We can indeed.
Yes. Is there any change that we do?
No.
None. It's perfectly fine.
That baby is going to get woken up if it was asleep, and it's going to kick a bunch. And then, well, at that point, it's priority kicking.
Yeah. Well, it's safe for both mom and
Yep.
baby. And then kind of a catch-all. What if there's just a situation that arises that's like, hey, there's trauma, or they're missing a leg, or they didn't have a leg, or they weren't born with it, or there's a part of the anatomy that's hindering where I want to put it.
Do the best you can. Get it as close as you can to where it should be.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
There's an optimal location. There's the kind of upper right chest, lower left abdomen of the patient. If there's something in the way or something that prohibits you from being able to put it there, just try to keep it as close as possible, right?
Yep.
And if there's something that's interfering so much that those two pads need to come together, you can do that kind of transverse location that you would do for kids. I read this today too. As long as the pads are traveling through the heart, that's the most important thing. You want to try and emphasize getting it in the proper location, like the recommended locations. But if you can't get that,
Right.
if it's impossible, you can do that same.
It's not optimal.
It's
but
not optimal.
You can make it work.
Yeah. As long as that electrical signals or that shock is going through the pathway of the
Right.
heart, that's pretty much what you're aiming for.
When do you wire strip the lamp cord and plug it into the wall? Do you do that at any point? Or?
You do not.
No. Why not? I think that would be a pretty cool class.
It would be.
The scene would then be unsafe.
But yeah, I think those are those are the things that we really want to like. Otherwise, it's
Follow the instructions.
following. You know what they come with? Like these things come with like dead simple instructions. As a matter of fact,
They're
it's
on the packaging.
It's printed on the back. It's printed on the pad. Like, and they're always like push button, place pads, listen. That's it. That's all you got to do. They're so simple. A caveman could do it.
Exactly.
Is there anything we need to do with them, like long term?
I think the main thing is like obviously the pads are can go bad over time.
They have expiration dates.
They have expiration dates. You have the batteries will eventually no longer work. It is possible.
Well, they degrade over time. Every
Right.
battery degrades
Yeah,
over time.
So I mean, the main thing is like every one of these is going to have a maintenance program. Make sure that you're following it.
yeah, like there's like for this particular one, there's a very simple like maintenance schedule. Like every time it checks itself every day, it checks itself every month. And the only thing, like there's a schedule in there, and the only thing that you may have to do at some point, like once a month or once a year or something, I forget what it is, but I'll look at the manual. It recommends that you run a self-check on it, and the self-check's real easy. You just hold the power button down for 5 seconds, and then it goes into self-check mode. And what it does is it loads the capacitor and then discharges it internally and tells you whether or not it went well or not. And it reduces the discharge by 1, but these things can hold like 600 charges.
And I'm betting it'll even say that it's doing a self-check.
Oh, it does. It walks you through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So like they all do that. They all have simple kind of like things that you should do every now and then. Make sure they're good. Like there's status indicators on there. Make sure that you're looking at your status indicator when you're checking these things. They should have something telling you that they're good to go. This one has a simple green light that blinks every 5 seconds. So if that's blinking every 5 seconds, you're good.
And I think the main thing is like if you work in a school, familiarize yourself with the one that's in your school. If you work in a Walmart, familiarize yourself with the one that's in the Walmart.
Right.
If you work in a BLS truck, make sure you know how to use the one that's on the truck.
Or actually, that's a really good point that we did not get into in this at all. Like familiarize yourself with how to, turn that Life Pack 15 or Life Pack 30 or Zoll monitor or whatever. Get familiar with how those pads get attached, because it's not the 12 leads, which I thought that it was when I first started. I'm like, oh, you don't shock.
Big red thing on top.
There's pads there's AD pads on the side. You take those out, and that's how it delivers shocks. So you should know how to take those out, they should always be connected, but how to apply those versus just the standard 12 lead application.
You don't want to be in the case where you have to use it and go time is now and be like,
How does this work?
how does that work again? Like it's not a good time.
Yeah.
So no matter what your situation is, no matter what you're doing, whether it's on an ambulance or like I said, you're a gym teacher, just familiarize yourself with
Yeah.
them.
AEDs, super important.
Yep.
Big fans, and we're big fans of Defibtech. And thank you so much, Defibtech and Master Medical
Absolutely.
Equipment, for sending us this. It will hopefully help stand guard in around us and in our homes, and that means the world to us. So thank you very much for that. And hopefully you guys will get some use out of, or no, hopefully you won't get use out of AEDs, but hopefully you will get one and it'll help keep you safer.
Yep.
Cool, man. So that's an awesome tool of the trade. I think it's a perfect accompaniment to Resuscitation.
Yes.
And I think that kind of seals the deal on the tool of the trade for this week, which leads us to
Our final segment.
The man, the myth, the legend, Jonathan Aldrich.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's kept us in suspense. We don't even know what he's going to say.
What is, Jonathan, please share with us, what is the student tip of this week?
So the student tip of the week, right? Resuscitation. That's a very heavy topic. And, if you're taking the ride with us week in and week out and you're still on the fence about going to EMT school, you can still be a student, whether you decide to take that plunge or not. I would encourage you to find a local CPR class and learn how to provide CPR and learn how to use an AED and learn how to handle choking emergencies in that CPR class, because that could be your first step to taking the ride along. And I really want to encourage you because you will feel more prepared to handle any sort of cardiac arrest emergency in your community or around you. And that's the tip I've got for the week.
Awesome.
It's a good tip.
Yeah. Yeah. Get out there and learn. Everyone can. And you know what? Please do it, because we owe it. I think the world's a better place the more we're all equipped to help each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's everything.
I think
we've been going for a bit.
Yes, we have.
Thank you all. Thank you very much for taking the ride with us. We love hearing from you. Please share with us your experiences. And we'll see you next time on the Ride Along. This podcast is for educational and storytelling purposes only. It is not medical advice or official EMT training. Always follow your accredited instructors and local protocols.
Heartbeats racing.